A few summon animals listened and showed their proud smile one after another. Cloud Dance looks at the elder of Emperor Wu who has already gone far away, and shows a smile at the corner of his mouth, and then directly releases all the troops in the Chaos Palace. Chief. As soon as Gao Yu appeared, he beamed with joy and said to Yunwu, "It's really amazing that one person can solve so many people." Yunwu waved his hand and said, "Don't be careless. The people on both sides of them have already gone to report. Now we need to occupy this place as our base in the shortest time. There is still a hard battle to fight next." "Yes," Gao Yu quickly responded, and then immediately went down and ordered the troops to start cleaning the battlefield and recovering the base Beast Gate headquarters. Shangguanzhong is sitting on the throne, listening to his subordinates report the situation of each major area one by one, and at the same time, he is constantly giving orders to take back the base occupied by Long Qingxie and others. However, before he finished listening, he heard a voice rushing in. "Report. There is news from the human world that Yunwu has gone to the human world with the army. Now it has occupied the transmission array." The voice said in a hurry, even because too anxious, some incoherent. "What did you just say?" Shangguanzhong suddenly stood up from his position. "To the Lord. Yunwu, she's taking the army to the human world." The man replied immediately. All of a sudden, Shangguanzhong's face darkened, and a sneer rose from the corner of his mouth. "Human world? Is she afraid of being beaten? I just moved my hand to them once, and then I hid in the human world." Sheng Guanli, who was standing at the bottom, also looked happy. Hearing Shangguanzhong's words, he quickly said, "Lord, it seems that they felt inferior in the last fight, so they wanted to leave. If I guess correctly, I'm afraid they want to take the human world as the basis, recover the human world first, and then start again." Shangguanzhong glances at him. After saving Sheng Guanli from Yunwu, he finds that Sheng Guanli's strength has been greatly reduced. In his eyes, Sheng Guanli is half useless. But Sheng Guanli's brain was so good that he left him, but he didn't use him as much as before. "You have a point." Shangguanzhong nodded and sneered, Do you think it's okay to hide in the human world? I think she has forgotten that now the human world is also the territory of our Beast Gate. Since she's hiding in the human world, let's go to the human world and have a good time with her." Having said that, Shangguanzhong directly said, "Come on. Send a team and follow me to the human world to catch Yunwu." His men took orders and went down in a hurry. Shangguanzhong glanced at Sheng Guanli, who was still standing below. After thinking for a while, he said, "You stay in the headquarters and have a good time. If you have anything, please send me a message in time." "Yes," the official replied soon. The team was ready to go. Shangguanzhong didn't wait long, so he took the team to the direction of the transmission array and right now. Dragon Qing, evil with the killer core, quietly rushed to the direction of the headquarters. "Boss, we are in such a hurry this time. Is it really good? There won't be any danger?" someone from the killer core asked. With a smile, Long Qingxie continued to march towards the headquarters, and said faintly, "They must have known that Yunwu has gone to the human world, and it is bound to let many people go to catch Yunwu. We attack their headquarters at this time, and they can neither go nor come back. When they come back, we will run." The killers could not help laughing and sighing, "Boss, you are really bad enough. When we just got close to the headquarters, the people in the headquarters were still leisurely patrolling around, and they didn't have the heart to be on guard at all. Obviously, they didn't expect Long Qingxie to come to the headquarters at this moment. What's more, they have just received information that Yunwu has gone to the human world, so they take it for granted that the army dealing with Wangwoman is no longer in the upper world. No matter what, some of the people who are good at assassination have stayed." Long Qingxie divided his team into 2 teams, each of which had only 40 or 50 people. Before he left, he told them many times, "Remember to run when you see the experts, and kill when you see the minions. I want you to ensure that none of your team is injured." A lot of people couldn't help laughing. This kind of play is really very interesting. So he took the order and divided into 2 teams. The first team rushed to the headquarters. Because of the killer's relationship, they walked very light, quietly leaped to the gate of the Beast Gate headquarters, and killed all the guards at the gate. Then he turned his head and made a gesture of no problem behind him. Then, the second team came out of the ambush and easily entered the headquarters of the Beast Gate. They almost don't speak, and they start to kill without saying a word. Their superb melee skills make them kill the enemy in front of them with little effort. Because the headquarters is not guarded by Shengguancong, and now Sheng Guanli is equivalent to half a useless person, and it is certainly impossible to recover in such a short time. Therefore, the whole headquarters seems to be very loose, which gives Dragon Qingxie and others an opportunity to take advantage of. Long Qingxie is carrying an ape and walking around with light steps. His purpose today is nothing but to kill people. The people of the Beast Gate began to panic. People rushed out, but they were chopped to death. The people of the Beast Gate were almost caught in the middle. But this is the headquarters of the Beast Gate after all, and they must be careful in every step, because I don't know when, there will be people who are similar to or even more powerful than the dragon, and they can't escape at that time. The scattered assassin regiments cooperated with each other very well. They were almost in a group of two. One was covering his mouth, the other was killing people. The whole Beast Gate was wrapped in a piece of killing. No. Someone's calling. Report to the elders and Dharma protectors. What? Someone called. The entrance is full of corpses. It's horrible. Go and call the elders. Everyone panicked, and finally someone rushed into the main hall to inform Wuling who was guarding here. There are many experts guarding the headquarters, so when the killers around feel the pressure from other Wuling, they don't hesitate to go around. However, they killed many minions along the way, bloodstaining the whole headquarters. However, the people they killed were less than 1/20th of the headquarters of the Beast Gate, not to mention the countless masters and the masters among them. There came a man who made Long Qingxie unable to perceive the realm. This made Long Qingxie very nervous. After turning a corner, he hid his body behind the wall and hid his breath quietly. And that person, without the slightest hesitation, walked straight ahead. Seeing that the man didn't move, Long Qingxie finally let out his breath, continued to grasp the ape and walked forward. Seeing the black-robed man, he killed him without hesitation. Shengguancong has taken the team he is going to take to capture Yunwu to the position of the transmission array. He sighs that it is rare to meet such a good opportunity. These people are afraid that they can't deal with the Beast Gate in the upper world, so they decide to go to the human world. But do they really think it's safe to go to the human world? Since they go to the human world, then he will go to the human world and catch them back. Look around the teleportation array. Now there are all the teams of the Beast Gate. With the order of Shengguancong, they finally walk towards the teleportation array. All of a sudden, a figure came in a hurry from a distance, flying over and shouting, "No! No! The headquarters has been attacked." As soon as Shengguancong was about to step into the teleportation array, he immediately took back his feet, frowned, took a deep breath, turned his head and roared, "What are you talking about? Say it again, boss. The headquarters has been attacked. Many people are dead now. There are about 100 people who sneak into the team unconsciously. Did anyone catch it?" Shengguancong looks very serious, and his whole body is full of murderous spirit. They're too strong, we haven't got them yet, we haven't got anyone." The people of the Beast Gate bowed their heads with a guilty heart. "You trash." Shengguancong was so angry that he slapped the man with his backhand. The man's nose was bleeding and he couldn't live. Shengguancong heaved a deep breath, lowered his head, looked at the transmission array, and then turned to look at a group of people who followed him. After thinking about it for a long time, he finally threw his sleeve and roared, "Everyone, follow me back to the headquarters." In an instant, the army moved towards the headquarters again. At this time, Shengguancong wanted to kill Long Qingxie several times. He wanted to seize the good opportunity of Yunwu, so it was wasted. Shengguancong was angry again, but the headquarters was more important than Yunwu. The army rushed to the headquarters, but just after arriving around the headquarters, it felt very bad, because the entrance of the headquarters was full of corpses of 10,000 beast men. Shangguanzhong frowned tightly and ran inside without saying a word, but he was secretly scolding the rubbish. When I hurried to the gate of the Beast Gate headquarters, I only felt that there was silence and no voice in the headquarters, while the corpses on the ground were everywhere and in a mess. They were all black-robed people, and there was no one from each other. Shangguanzhong roared angrily, and his whole body exuded a sense of terror, so that people around him could not help kneeling on the ground, but Shangguanzhong ignored it and continued to walk forward. Where are the people who attacked us? Shangguanzhong was standing in the main hall, looking around, but he saw that none of the masters of the Beast Gate were injured. He laughed angrily. How come none of you were injured, and you didn't even touch the dust? You've played a good fight. It's not like that, boss. There is a man from the Beast Gate who hastily explained, this group of people are very strange. They all killed their men when they saw them, but when they saw us, they turned around and ran away without saying a word. The speed made us feel incredible. He lowered his head and frowned. After thinking for a long time, he finally said, but in this group of people, we see the evil figure of the dragon. Long Qingxie. It's you again. Shangguanzhong gnashed his teeth, sat on the throne, and asked coldly, how many people are there? About 100. How many casualties do we have? 500. You are very kind. Shangguanzhong made a sudden effort, and his chair handle turned into ashes. All of them fell on their knees in fright, and the headquarters of the Beast Gate was full of tension. At this time, Shangguanzhong's anger had reached the peak, and his whole body was shaking. He looked down at the group of people in front of him and roared angrily, you useless waste. The hands suddenly started to work, and a black fighting spirit leaped up. A man around him suddenly flew to Shangguanzhong with a howl. Before he had time to struggle, he was suddenly broken his neck. The crisp noise on his neck made the people around him get goosebumps. The man vomited blood, his eyes turned white, and the corpse, which was thrown on the ground, twitched twice and stopped moving. Everyone could not help swallowing a mouthful of saliva. Some people also unconsciously touched their neck. Shangguanzhong closed his eyes, panted heavily, and his face turned red. It was obvious that this time, he lost his wife and broke his army, but he didn't catch Yunwu. Then he didn't even touch the dragon's evil face. He clenched his fists and said, however have we suffered such humiliation? And Long Qingxie is very relaxed. When he returns to the base, everyone can't help laughing, and someone has already laughed. After the people who went to fight told Shangguan what happened in the headquarters of the Beast Gate, Shangguan covered his stomach and was about to faint with a smile. I didn't expect that Shangguanzhong has today. This time, I can really play him. After wiping his tears, Shangguan patted Long Qingxie on the shoulder and said, you are really damaged. I think Shangguanzhong is about to explode in the headquarters now. The dragon inclined evil to pull corners of mouth. Treat that kind of old thing, naturally can't be a gentleman. After this battle, although the killers of the regiment were very alert and retreated, there were still a few people who suffered some serious injuries. Mu Xiuming came to treat them one by one. Long Qingxie looks around at the people. The people who stay in the base are also looking at him. Chong Guangji is also standing in the crowd. Boss, we've hit the Beast Gate so hard this time. I'm afraid the Beast Gate will come soon. One of the assassin's men, frowning at Long Qingxie, is waiting for his answer. Long Qingxie nodded solemnly and said in a deep voice, yes, I'm afraid next, we'll gather our troops as soon as possible and leave here. There was a howl in the crowd. It was such a good place to practice, but now we have to move away. But as we all know, this is what we must do next. Now we don't have a lot of people, and our forces are very strong. Long Qingxie thought and said with a smile, we can just change our position to fight with them. Although we can fight hard, they will be angry with us, and this place may not always be taken back. People laugh and feel relaxed. So after that, everyone scattered and gathered their teams to pack up in the open space of the base. After a while, everyone packed up, so everyone set out in silence. Think of Cloud Dance once hidden valley has not been found by the people of 10,000 Beast Gate, Dragon Qingxie with the team, fast toward the direction of the valley. Beast Gate headquarters. Xiao Mu stood in the middle of a group of minions of the Beast Gate, dressed in a black robe, and did not look up at all. After a tour of the mountain with the patrol team, they found that there was no abnormality, so they went into the Beast Gate and exchanged with other teams. They were ready to go back to rest. Finally, he is free. All the way, he hears the rumors about the Beast Gate and the heroic force of Long Qingxie and others, which makes Xiao Mu's heart very tangled at this time. He thinks that he has been so indifferent to Yunwu and others, and he is a little sorry. Out of the group, everyone rushed to eat one after another. Xiao Mu followed the minions of the Beast Gate and walked towards the dining hall. Ah, have you heard that in the high building behind, there are books about cultivating mental skills and internal skills? I've heard about it, and I don't know when we'll be able to go in and have a look. I feel that if we go in and have a look, it's worth our hard cultivation for a long time. The two minions in front of him were very excited and carefully discussing the questions about many books in the high-rise building. Suddenly, Xiao Mu was moved. He couldn't help walking forward and asked carefully, "Where is the high-rise building you mentioned?" The two minions were very cautious. They frowned and turned to look at Xiao Mu. However, they saw that Xiao Mu also carefully turned to look at him, and then quietly attached to their ears and whispered, "I want to see it, too. Do you want to go?" The minion's face suddenly changed, and he looked at Xiao Mu in shock, as if he was looking at a monster. I said, "You don't know what kind of monsters are in the 10,000 Beast Gate. If you sneak to the 10,000 Beast Gate forbidden area here and others find it, I'm afraid you can't eat it. Are you sure your brain is okay?" Xiao Mu raised the corner of his mouth with a smile, and his eyes were full of confidence. "What's the matter? In my opinion, they can't see us when we go in and steal some books." Those people's faces turned pale. They put out their hands to cover Xiao Mu's mouth and pulled him to the corner. They said viciously, "You want to die. We don't want to die. You want to kill us when you say this in public." Xiao Mu pulled the man's hand down and frowned slightly. He was obviously angry. He looked at the black buildings behind the houses and said, "Don't you also covet the things there? How can I tell you that we'll go and have a look and you'll be counseled?" Those people listened to Xiao Mu say so. In the heart is more angry, turn ahead to see nearby. A few people passed by from the side, compared a silent gesture. When those people passed by, they turned around and whispered, "What you said is not a question of whether we dare or not, but it's a matter of great risk. If we are caught by them, we will die. You don't know how terrible the rules of the Beast Gate are. I have said that I will plan this matter. Don't you believe it? If it's broken down, you'll put the blame on me." Xiao Mu said, looking up at the two people's eyes, but saw that the two people's eyes are light. The heart said that it must have become, and hurried to their ears, quietly told them their own plan. Two people thought, finally, hesitated to nod. That night, in the middle of the night, there were no stars and no moon. The three people quietly came down from their beds and joined in the small corner where they had gathered before. A few people make a wink, quietly toward the black building over there. The three stopped in a shadow in front of the black building and looked up at the tall building in front of them. There were two guards standing there, a little shaky. Because of the strict rules of the Beast Gate, many things in the Beast Gate have not been violated, so they naturally relaxed their vigilance. Xiao Mu picked up two stones from the ground and suddenly bounced in the direction of the two people. The speed of Xiao Mu's hand made the two people have no reaction at all. They had been hit at a certain acupoint and fell straight to the ground. "Are you sure?" A man nearby asked. "If they pretend to faint, we used to be in trouble now." "Don't worry." Xiao Mu patted them on the shoulder and walked gently towards them. "They just sleep for a while, so we have to go in quickly. If they wake up, we will be finished." The two men quickly followed Xiao Mu's steps and ran towards the black building. "Is there no other guard going in from here? Since it's the forbidden area of the Beast Gate, how can it be so lax?" said one. Who do you think would have thought someone would dare to go in? Xiao Mu said, quickly toward the front. Until 3 people squeak, push open the wooden door, and then fish into, gently close the door. Walking into the library, it was dark, which made several people have a meal in an instant, but Xiao Mu was ready in advance, took out a small fire fold in his hand and lit it. The dim light came from the fire fold. He threw 2 to them. They quickly picked up the fire fold and lit it with Xiao Mu. Half an hour later, we'll gather at the door and get ready to go out. Xiao Mu whispered. 3 people began to roam in the sea of books. Xiao Mu is very nervous, and almost uses the fastest speed to start looking, one by one, row by row. Finally, in a bookshelf, he finds a book about the recovery of memory. A surprise comes to his eyes. He quickly opens the book and uses a fire fold to read it. But when I was just about to sit down and take a closer look, I suddenly heard someone talking outside. Well, what's the matter? I fell asleep all of a sudden. Me too. What's the matter? My neck hurts here. Please help me to have a look. Xiao Mu felt nervous. How could he wake up suddenly? He quickly called the 2 in the library, and the 3 quickly walked out. As soon as I opened the wooden door, I saw that the 2 guards were still chatting there. When I heard the door ring, I looked back quickly. Xiao Mu and a man suddenly raised their hands at the same time, and a knife chopped at the guard's neck. Suddenly, 2 people fell to the ground. Let's go. Xiao Mu called and rushed out of the gate. But just after walking out, a patrol team had arrived. Xiao Mu is very nervous in his heart. He quickly drags 3 people to a corner. He happens to see a latrine, so the 3 people hide in. The patrol team, walking slowly from the library floor, suddenly saw that the 2 people in front of them were lying on the ground and stopped there. The team leader stepped forward, raised his hand to explore the noses of the 2 guards, and frowned. How did he fall asleep? He patted the guard's face and yelled, "Hey, wake up." After shooting for a long time, the 2 guards opened their eyes and saw a large group of people standing in front of them. They immediately called out, "No. There seems to be someone in the library." Everyone's face changed, and they ran to the library. Xiao Mu covered his nose and hid in the toilet, waiting for a group of people. After a long time, the small group of Wu people walked in and came out again. They came to the 2 guards and said coldly, "I think you are looking for an excuse because you are asleep. It's clear that no one has ever been here. You still lie. I don't think you want to live. Tomorrow I'll report it to you." The 2 men's faces changed greatly. No matter what the man said or not, they fell on their knees and begged for mercy. "Grandfather, I'm wrong. Don't tell Shengguan. Can I give you all my money this month?" The captain slightly hooked the corner of his mouth and hummed, "It's still interesting. Turn around and leave with a team." In Xiao Mu's heart, he went back to his room, opened the book and studied it carefully. Finally found a very similar method with their own, so quickly closed their eyes, according to the book, step by step in their own room. After a while, countless pieces of information suddenly poured into his mind, which made his head seem to explode. He turned pale and continued to suppress the dizziness caused by the pain, quietly feeling the information in his mind. Surprised, all the memories, instantly back to the mind. The human world. The army of 1 human came much slower than Yunwu expected. When Gao Yu commanded the Yunjiajin to clean up the battlefield quickly, occupied their base, and hung the flag of Yunjiajin, the shadow of 1 human still disappeared. Yunwu didn't pay attention to them. He arranged for Gao Yu to take the people to camp and investigate the surrounding environment. He even went around leisurely to have a good meal for the soldiers. Then we arranged the rotation rest time. After everyone had enough to eat and drink, we finally ushered in the movement of the Beast Gate. Oh, it's a long time to go. It takes a whole day to go back and forth between the 2 bases. Gao Yu looked at the approaching team from the horizon and said sarcastically. Cloud danced the corner of the mouth to Hook, "I came back, they how to find also have to prepare well, if only 1 or 2 Wu Ling, may not be my opponent. When he said this, Yunwoo's face was obviously arrogant and domineering. Gao Yuhao laughs, but he doesn't retort. He laughs and leaves to arrange the defense of Yun Jiejun. This time, it's a tough battle. Yunwoo stood up from the grass, patted the mud behind his buttocks, and looked at the approaching team. With a cold hum and a random turn of his hand, the burning black flame of Guwu's sword appeared in his palm. At the same time, the summoning array appears at the foot, and several summoning beasts appear in the form of human beings around Yunwoo. Master! The summoners said with one voice. Prepare to fight. Yes, as soon as the voice fell, several figures started at the same time to meet the flying team. Several people stood on the branch of the highest tree, facing the fierce army, but they didn't mean to be afraid. That's them. The middle one is Cloud Dance. The others are her summoners. The elder of Emperor Wu, who had escaped before, recognized several summoning beasts with sharp eyes and said to a Wuling master nearby. At the front of the mighty team, there are 7 Wuling masters and more than 10 Wudi masters. Compared with the previous day's team, they are already powerful. I don't know how many times. These are the strongest forces that can be gathered in a short time. Some of the experts are located in distant bases. They can't come here for a while, and they are still on their way. Summoner. In the middle, a Wuling strongman squints at the front. Among these people, he is the most powerful. Now he is in the late stage of Wuling, and will soon enter the peak of Wuling. He is not angry when he is called here in a hurry. He has known the name of Yunwoo for a long time, but he has no chance to fight. Now he finally meets Yunwoo, and his heart is full of war. Yes, she is a summoner. The strong man of Emperor Wu said again. Looking at Wuling's face, he seemed to be very interested. He couldn't help laughing bitterly in his heart. You can't belittle the enemy, summoner, no wonder it's so powerful. The powerful Wuling snorted coldly and said, the summoner has been gone for a long time. Now I finally meet one. It's good to be able to enter our beast gate, but it's just against us. It's her bad life. Yes, yes. Emperor Wu's strong men are almost sweating on their foreheads. How can they be easy to deal with when they say that they can kill hundreds of thousands of beasts by themselves? But at the thought of the strange temper of the Wuling strongman, he was conceited and didn't allow anyone to disobey him, so he pressed down the warning that he had already spoken. Little Smelly, who was standing beside Yunwoo, turned his eyes and looked at them with a sneer. He didn't pay any attention to them at all. The spirit of Wuling realm was released in an instant and directly rolled over to the opposite side. How dare a stinky bird compete with me? I want to die. The most powerful Wuling man in the middle stares, then immediately drinks coldly, and the more powerful pressure comes out immediately. Both of them ran to the other side without showing any weakness. Xiao Smelly wanted to give them a bad impression, but there was such a strong man on the opposite side of the clinker, who was unprepared for a moment and fell down. The powerful pressure covered, the first to bear the brunt of the small stink directly changed his face. Cloud Dance frowns, more than prestige. She hasn't lost yet. Chaos Hall opened, a wave of ancient pressure released instantly, the opposite of several Wuling strong instant color change. What's the smell? How could it be so powerful? It's clear that they didn't really start, but just this pressure made them feel as if they couldn't move. They even felt some difficulties in speaking, as if their lives were in the hands of each other, and they would be killed by each other as long as they moved a little. Mama is great. Small Stink said happily, and some white face like clothes proud smile. Let the people of the Beast Gate dare to do that to themselves just now, let their masters teach them a lesson. Yunwoo didn't speak, just looked at each other coldly, but the knife in his hand was tighter. Do it. Cloud Dance stares at those people whose faces have become very ugly because of the pressure in front of him. At the command, the summoning beasts around him instantly answer, yes. Then, Chi Rushu flew into the sky. Under the cover of all kinds of light, the huge bodies of Warcraft appeared in the public sight. Look! Those are her Warcraft. It's all in Wuling realm. As soon as the elder Wu Di saw so many Warcraft appearing, he was in a panic. He seemed to be back to the day when he was surrounded and pursued by these warcraft. If he hadn't run fast, he would have died in Yunwoo's hands like his companions. The head of Wuling Elder, while struggling to deal with the oppression, looked at him coldly and scolded, "Worthless thing." Then the elder raised his voice and ordered to all the people of the beast sect present, "Listen to me. Concentrate on attacking Cloud Dance." Yes, as soon as the words came out, all the members of the beast sect said in one voice. They all knew clearly that the Cloud Dance was the most important among the people opposite, so they didn't hesitate. A mass of black energy appeared from the ranks of the beast gate, and everyone's right hand was shining with black light, which was very strange in the daytime. "At my command." Set Elder Wuling raised his voice and yelled, seeing that many beasts raised their hands one after another, and the black energy in their hands converged on Elder Wuling's raised hands together. The volume of energy gathered together does not increase at all, but Yunwoo people are very clear that the energy contained in it is absolutely huge. Cloud Dance frowned and increased the strength of Chaos Hall. At the same time, he secretly told several summoning beasts in his heart, "When they attack, you immediately rush over and disturb their team. Remember, don't fight hard and avoid the elder's attack, just disturb the team." "I understand." Summon beasts face rigorous, but can let people clearly see the seriousness on each beast face. "Cloud Dance. Aren't you very good? Have a try on my move." The Elder Wuling on the other side laughs wildly. It's strange that Yunwoo is so arrogant that he dares to come to the human world alone. He has no other skills, but it's enough to deal with the master. If Yunwoo is smart enough to bring his own army, they will not be able to use it. Yunwoo sneers in his heart, but he is not in a hurry to say anything. It's just that the purple fighting spirit emerges on the surface of his body, condenses into a layer of protection around his body, and urges the wind elements in his body to surround him, which maximizes his speed. How hard is it? She had never thought that no matter how powerful any move was, she had to fight the enemy first, otherwise everything would be in vain. The Elder Wuling's attack finally came down. Under the control of the Elder, the black energy flew to the clouds like a colorful ball, but it was not an attack, but many. It's like the fireworks blooming all over the sky, and it's like the scattered flowers all over the sky, smashing in the direction of Cloud Dancing, but the color of the fireworks is black. It is very strange. Every attack seems to have the power to corrode everything, let people look and fear. "Do it." Cloud Dance in the heart of the moment to summon animals issued an order. Yes, the summoning beasts answered quickly, and then rushed in one after another. A sound of phoenix, a sound of dragon, a sound of breaking through the earth summoned the animals are passionate, facing the black fireworks rushed up. The size of the summoners is large, so they are more likely to be hit by the fireworks. Each summoner uses his own strength to add several layers of protection to himself, and then one by one rushes over like a game. Black energy hits them. Although it can't break their defense, every attack that falls on them can weaken their defense. Fortunately, although there are a lot of fireworks, most of them are flying to the clouds. In addition, the summoning beasts are flying high, so there are not many attacks on them. They are getting closer and closer to the Beast Gate team. Yunwoo's figure became more agile after using the wind element, shuttling through the black fireworks, but she was still at ease. After a long time, there was still no attack on her. She didn't even know if she was provoking the Beast Gate. When she waved her Guwu's sword twice from time to time, several attacks were directly burned by the black flame on the knife. Damn it, the Elder Wuling didn't seem to think that it would be like this. He didn't get angry at once, and he looked up at the strength of Yunwoo. Elder. The summoners are coming. Elder Wuling's mind is all on Yunwoo's body. At this time, another elder sees that the summoning beasts are getting closer and closer, so he reminds them immediately. Elder Wuling noticed that the huge bodies were not on the same level with Yunwoo because they were flying too high. Just now, he only focused on attacking Yunwoo and ignored them. But he never thought that these summoners were willing to rush through the barrage of bullets. It's not like it's killing me. What is it? Elder. They want to destroy our team. Elder Woody immediately guessed their intention, but he still rushed towards the team in such a dangerous situation. What's the reason except that he wanted to destroy their formation so that they could not use this move? Elder Wooling's face sank in an instant. Looking at the calling beasts that were getting closer and closer, he said coldly, "Do you want to get closer?" "No way." That said, the attack target of Wooling Elder changed instantly, and most of the firepower was directly transferred to several summoning beasts in the sky. The volume of summon beast is huge. The attack effect of this transfer is much better. They are attacked more and more, and their protection is almost fading at the speed visible to the naked eye. In addition to the protection of pure Yang Yen, the other summoners are all like this. As a result, the speed of the summoners slowed down significantly. Yunwu keenly felt that he was less attacked, and the summoners met more and more attacks. He could not help frowning. Then he immediately made a decision, grasped the Guwu's sword in his hand, and rushed directly to the opposite side. Elder Cloud Dance is coming. The barrage of bullets only had a little impact on the speed of Cloud Dance. She was so fast that when she was about to arrive, Elder Wooling shook his hand and quickly gathered the attack to this part of Cloud Dance. Just after adjusting the attack target, it suddenly occurred to me that the summoning beasts could not be ignored. The Wooling Elder wanted to attack on both sides in a hurry, but in this way, the speed of the enemy is really slowed down, but it is still constantly approaching, and his attack has no effect at all. In addition to causing damage to the protection of the summoners, it has no effect at all. The Elder Wooling realized this and could not help shaking his heart, but it was obviously not a time to panic, so he quickly adjusted his mind. This time, focus and put most of your energy on Cloud Dance. In his opinion, those summoners are huge. As long as they don't attack as little as they did at first, they will penetrate their protection sooner or later. Only Cloud Dance is the most important thing. Obviously, it's not just him who thinks about it. The Golden Phoenix is flying in the front of the team. At this time, it is turning its head. A pair of beast eyes are staring at several warcraft behind. They see that their protection is getting thinner and thinner. Then he raised his head with a sound of foaming. Then, he saw that the red flame on his body suddenly separated into strands and went to several summoning beasts behind him. The red flame instantly disappeared into the protection of the summoners. The protection of various colors was dyed red, but the fading trend finally stopped. Not bad. I didn't expect you to have the ability. Small 9 A pair of fox eyes contain smile of toward front of small stink to say. Little Stink flashed obvious pride in a pair of animal eyes, and a loud voice of Fengming seemed to call on his friends to continue charging. With the help of Little Stink, several summoners simply ignored the barrage of bullets, one by one increased their speed to the extreme, and rushed directly in the past. Elder. It's not good. Those summoners. The Elder of Emperor Wu was not at ease with the warcraft, so he was paying attention to them all the time. Now when he saw this situation, he quickly exclaimed. What are you afraid of? Just a few warcraft. What's the big deal? Don't you see I'm controlling them? Elder Wooling was not happy with Elder Woody's startled feet for a long time. At this time, he frowned and said, but only half of the words were said, and the other half was blocked in his throat. Because those warcraft have reached the top of their heads, Elder Wooling wanted to turn around his firepower to deal with the warcraft, but it was too late. Several summon beast figures fell down directly, and fell into the team mercilessly. With the strong and tough defense of the body, they rushed in the team according to the order of Cloud Dance, and started to fight against those beast men from time to time. Suddenly, the scream sounded directly. Ah, it hurts. Help, Elder, help! All the people in the Beast Gate were in a panic in an instant. The summoners were so bold that they dared to break into the team directly. They were so flustered that they even forgot how to resist. And before that, the move of gathering many people together has completely disappeared. Don't panic, don't panic. Calm down, everyone. They're just warcraft. Let's go. Kill them. Elder Woody didn't know if it was because he had been stimulated before, so this time he was the first one to react and cried out. Voice out. Sure enough, Some people calmed down, one by one to show their weapons, yelling at a few warcraft to fight. Kill! Kill them, how many animals dare to be powerful in front of us? Kill them, let's go, several skilled elders also reacted one after another. At this time, they couldn't care about any moves anymore. They all knew what was the consequence of letting warcraft in the Wuling realm break into the team. They quickly showed their weapons one by one and ran directly to several warcraft. 7 Wuling, let's deal with one. The rest are dealt with by 3 emperors. Others help. Killing them is a great achievement. Elder Wuling angrily looked at the warcraft that had ruined his good deeds, especially the Golden Phoenix. If it wasn't for him, how could he have failed? Elder, that cloud. The elder of Emperor Wu warned. What is that? Why don't you do it? At this time, Elder Wuling has long forgotten Yunwu. What's more, he doesn't like Elder Wudi. How can he listen to him? At the moment, he roared directly and took the lead to rush to the little stink. Yes, other elders answered one after another. They also knew that Elder Wuling had a bad temper, and the current situation didn't allow them to think much, so they rushed up. The elder of Emperor Wu grinned bitterly. He turned his head and looked at Yunwu, who had not yet arrived. He did not know how, but stopped not far away. At this time, he was looking at this side with a smile, as if he was watching a play. He was a little nervous, but he still turned around and ran to the warcraft. Yunwu stood quietly not far away, looking at a good play directed by himself, and couldn't help thinking in his heart, the people of the Beast Gate are really a group of brainless people. At this time, they even forget that she is the most dangerous person here. Yunwu takes out the signal bomb from the portable space and lights it casually. Just listen to the sound of rub, the signal bomb goes straight into the sky, and finally blooms at a high place with the sound of bang. The colorful flares are still dazzling even in the daytime. This is the cloud dance specially arranged for people to make, is to meet the battle. What's that? There are 10,000 beast door people curious looking at the sky suddenly appear light, surprised to ask companion. I don't know. The companion also shook his head in doubt, and then seemed to suddenly understand something, no. Does she have any help? What did you say? Then, without waiting for them to guess an accurate result, they suddenly heard a huge voice from afar where there were only these people. Kill all beasts. Restore my home. Kill the Beast Gate. Restore my home. At first, the people of the Beast Gate were still in the battle and didn't care. But later, the cry was too uniform and became louder and louder. In the end, it almost covered the whole battlefield. They finally heard what the cry was. Kill all beasts. Restore my home. Kill the Beast Gate. Restore my home. The neat team came from the horizon with loud and clear slogans. At a glance, there were thousands of people. The most eye-catching was the fastest team. They were wearing the same clothes, like soldiers who had been specially trained, carrying the flag with the logo, and kept getting closer. Clearly did not deliberately release the pressure, but it can let people see at a glance that they are different from others, their every move exudes dignity. Yunjiajin. Cloud dancing team. There are people in the beast door to see clearly the words on the flag, instantly understand. What? Cloud dancing army. Didn't she come here alone? Elder Wuling cried out in disbelief, and then looked at Elder Wudi with a pair of eyes. The elder of Emperor Wu was also confused. The cloud dance he saw that day came by himself. How could there be so many people in just one day? And an army? Does it mean that since the base was destroyed on that day, Yunwu began to arrange for these troops to come? But in such a short time when all these people come here and make detailed arrangements, I don't think it's too late. Before the elder of Emperor Wu understood it, he was suddenly pulled by a powerful force. He was strangled by his neck, and the whole person couldn't speak. Make it clear to me. What the hell is going on? Elder Wuling angrily looks at the man in his hand and wants to strangle him directly. At this time, he doubts whether this man is an undercover agent sent by Yunwu. He even told him that Yunwu was the only one who came to the human world. If he said Yunwu had brought a large army, he would not bring so few people anyway. Cough cough, cough, I'm telling the truth, cough, she was the only one who came that day, cough. Before the old saying of Emperor Wu had finished, he felt that the strength of his neck had suddenly increased, and he coughed violently. You fart. Elder Wuling is very angry, and then he will kill. Elder, please show mercy. It's still fighting. Kill one and lose a helping hand. The others pleaded. The strength of Elder Wuling's hand was obvious. With a cold hum, he threw away his hand directly and threw the Elder Wudi hard, but he was not satisfied. You wait. Elder Wudi shivered, but he didn't dare to say anything. The army of Cloud dancing slowly approached. They seemed to have enough patience, and they even walked over on foot as if they were destroying the confidence of the Beast Gate. But these troops are an encirclement. Once the people of the Beast Gate want to escape, they will directly rush on them and will not give them the chance to escape at all. Yunwu stood opposite the Beast Gate, sneering at the panic of the Beast Gate people, and the summon beasts also turned into willful shuttles in the Beast Gate team, and killed several people from time to time, but there were 7 Wuling and a dozen Wudi present, so they didn't dare to move too much. Once they were focused on their bodies, they would die. Get out at once. Elder, what should we do now? Although all the people in the Beast Gate have heard about the Cloud Family Army, no one has seen the Cloud Family Army with their own eyes. They just heard that they are very effective and even rescued Yunwu from Shangguanshong. How can they defeat such an army? At this time, everyone put their eyes on Elder Wuling, waiting for his order. Elder Wuling looked very ugly. Looking at the army getting closer and closer, he gritted his teeth and said, "Find a chance to retreat." One is the other, what? As soon as the words came out, most of the people of the Beast sect changed their faces. How could they seem to run away with their own abilities, and those who can't run away can only stay and wait for death? Elder Wuling couldn't manage so much. The sword was drawn out, and the black energy loomed on his body. He looked around, looking for the direction to escape. As soon as I saw that the company commander was like this, other people didn't want to fight, so they took out their weapons one after another like the elder. Yunwu looks at those beast men with a sneer, just because they feel sad. On weekdays, he bullies the world by virtue of the reputation of the Beast Gate, bows to his superiors like a pug, but in the end, he becomes the first chess piece to be discarded. Why? The pace of the Cloud Family Army is getting closer and closer, and Cloud Dance's eyes are almost watching. He orders to several summoning beasts in his heart, "Come back, let's see them next." All right, several summoning beasts responded happily, and then one by one directly flew back from the team of 10,000 beasts, and stood by Yunwu. Because it's just to harass their team, it's not a real fight. Several summoned beasts have been instructed by Cloud Dance for a long time, and the minimum requirement is not to get hurt. So at this time, they come back one by one, and they are not hurt, but they don't kill several people. Let's go and give them the battlefield. Cloud Dance looked at a few summoned beast companions, nodded with satisfaction, said a word gently, then took a few summoned beasts directly ran to Gao Yu's direction to meet up. Elder. Look at her, a man of 10,000 beasts can't stand the arrogance of Cloud Dance. He seems to be very upset about the other parties leaving, so he says directly. What? Don't let her go. Then why don't you stop it? One elder said sarcastically. Before the beast had to shut up, let him stop, give 10 lives is not enough. Cloud Dance with summoned beasts directly fell in front of Gao Yu, did not say anything to him, but directly stood in the front of the team with him, constantly toward the team of 10,000 Beast Gate. Loud and clear slogans continue, Cloud Dance. Several people also joined the cry, just 2 slogans, instantly feel blood boiling. The team of the Beast Gate is in front of us, and everyone's heart is full of fighting spirit. At last, the whole army stopped at a distance of only 100 feet. Gao Yu stood in the front of the team, looking at the team of 10,000 Beast Gate surrounded in the middle, holding high the flag in his hand and shouting, "Kill! A simple command, but more than any words to arouse the war spirit of the Cloud family army. I saw thousands of people in an instant cry out, loud, kill. Word seems to be able to tear the sky, all kinds of colors of fighting dazzling bloom, with the arrogant momentum to kill those beasts in the air. Elder. All the people in the beast gate were directly flustered. When did they see such a battle? Although we all know that the most important thing at this time is to escape, but looking at the army that is impossible to escape, they have to pray that Elder Wooling can find some effective ways. Elder Wooling snorted coldly. He held a long sword tightly in his hand. His eyes were fixed on Gao Yu, who was at the front of the procession. However, he said to the other members of the beast sect, "Do you want to live? Then kill it." After that, Elder Wooling rushed out directly. Black energy suddenly emerged and wrapped his body tightly. A long silver sword also became as black as ink. Elder Wooling went to meet Gao Yu. Both of them were very fast and soon collided with each other. Although Gao Yu was only in the realm of Emperor Wu, his skills were accumulated little by little, so his strength was better than the general realm of Emperor Wu. What's more, there were thousands of troops behind him, and he was fearless. He also took the sword in his hand and attacked the Elder Wooling. There was no fear in Gao Yu's eyes. On the contrary, his eyes were shining with fighting spirit. He had wanted to compete with Wooling experts for a long time. Now he finally had the chance. Gao Yu's strength was better than usual. With a bang, their weapons collided and made a clear sound. They retreated one after another. Elder Wooling retreated only half a step, while Gao Yu retreated 3 steps. Their strength showed immediately. Ha ha ha, have a good time. Come again. Not only did Gao Yu not feel angry because of his backwardness, but he laughed and shook his numb arm. The sword in his hand was more dazzling. After wrapping his fighting spirit, he rushed up again. His weapon was given by Yunwu. Naturally, it would be much better for Elder Wooling's rags. After a few simple moves, the army rushed up, and several martial arts masters joined the duel. With 1-to-many, Elder Wooling obviously felt that he couldn't help himself. Seeing that he was going to lose sooner or later, Elder Wooling no longer focused on the battle and looked around at the battle situation of the whole battlefield. One by one, the people of the beast sect were rushing to the outside. Facing these attacking troops, they had no fighting back, let alone thinking about the battle. Everyone had only one idea in mind, that is to hurry up, get out. But up to now, no one has been able to escape from the hands of Yun Jiajun. Elder Wooling's eyes were gloomy and he didn't know what he was thinking. What are you looking at? Do you expect someone to help you? They can't keep themselves. Gao Yu took the sword's right hand and gently shook it, trying to shake off the numbness in his hand. Looking at Elder Wooling, he said with a sneer. Elder Wooling didn't even answer, but then he made an incredible move. Instead of rushing out, he turned and ran to the center of the encirclement. Gao Yu was stunned. Before he could react, he saw Elder Wooling get into the war and stab a soldier of the Yun family army with a sword. The soldier was attacking a member of the 10,000 Beast sect. He had to dodge for such a long time. When Gao Yu was surprised that Elder Wooling was so kind-hearted to save people, he saw that Elder Wooling had caught the Beast sect man who had just been saved by himself and directly threw it at Gao Yu. Then, Wooling Elder did the same, one by one, threw these 10,000 beast men to Gao Yu. Gao Yu quickly dealt with the hidden weapon that suddenly appeared. When he went to find the figure of Wooling Elder, he found that he didn't know when it was gone. No. Gao Yu frowned and went everywhere to look for Elder Wooling, but he couldn't find him. He thought that he could not run away, so he went back to the war situation again. Elder Wooling had been flying out of the encirclement as fast as he could. In the crowded environment, he was afraid that others might find him. Seeing that the encirclement was about to be broken, Elder Wooling was more and more excited. It's still a little bit, just a little bit. Finally, he broke out of the encirclement. Elder Wooling, laughed, and no matter which direction he found, he rushed directly. He was surrounded by the joy of breaking out of the encirclement. He didn't notice that Yunwu was waiting for her in a tree not far ahead. By the time he found out, it was too close. A black light flew to him. Elder Wuling was surprised and wanted to hide. But it was too late. The thing smashed directly on his face. The thing on it seemed to have a burning effect. Elder Wuling felt very painful and fell directly to the ground. Cloud Dance flies to take the ancient martial arts broadsword that is thrown out, and immediately falls on Elder Wuling's side. He looks at him jokingly and says, "You're too slow. I've been waiting for you here for a long time." Elder Wuling couldn't believe watching Yunwu. He didn't understand what she meant. In fact, Yunwu had noticed him for a long time, and watched him break away from the encirclement a little bit, so she used the wind element to wait here directly. Of course, she would not tell Elder Wuling about this. "Congratulations on being the first to escape," Yunwu said with a smile. "The reward is send you to hell." Said, the hand rises, knife falls, mercilessly toward Wuling Elder to chop. On the vast sky, one after another 10,000 orcs fell down, until the last one in the battle was also dealt with. The battle finally stopped. Gao Yu with a group of soldiers looking at Yunwu, a hand carrying the body slowly came over, a face full of joy of victory. Although it's just a battle without suspense, it's also a good start for their attack in the human world. It's a happy thing to say. Cloud Dance carries Wuling Elder's corpse to finally arrive in front of, immediately toward that pile of corpses. Top a throw, lightly said a sentence. Call it a day. In the upper valley, everything was in order again. Long Qingxie sits on the seat, looking at the deployment map on the table, frowning slightly. He has been thinking about how to plan a more rigorous battle, but there has been no progress. The voice of everyone's practice came from outside, which made Long Qingxie more upset. So he finally put down his pen, went to the window, looked at the direction of the team's practice in front of him, and sighed. Recently, I haven't heard the news of Cloud Dance, and now I have no progress. Naturally, it makes Long Qingxie feel depressed. When we came down from the upstairs, we saw the dragon's evil spirit and said hello one after another. The dragon's evil spirit also responded one by one. When Shengguan came out of the barracks, he saw Long Qingxie walking aimlessly. So he came forward to hold Long Qingxie's shoulder, bit the apple in his hand and asked, "What's the matter with you? I don't think you're in a good mood." Long Qingxie picked his eyebrows, turned to see Shengguan, then put aside his arm and went on. "Hey, you are too unkind. It's sad to see that Yunwu doesn't care about you for a moment, but you don't appreciate it." Shengguan said, but also pretended to be sad to cover the chest. "I can't bear to see it." Long Qingxie turns his head, but he just sees that Qi Yi's comes out from behind and turns a big white eye at Shengguan. "Report." Boss. A man came to Long Qingxie's side in a hurry and stood still. Long Qingxie frowned slightly and stopped in a hurry. Shengguan and Qi Yi's were stunned and went to listen to the people in front of him. "Boss, there is a report from the following brother that the man from the Beast Gate had just hit the base, but he jumped in the air. It was said that the leader had been angry and killed several people on the spot." On hearing this, Shengguan chuckled. "I just want to ask if the people of the Beast Gate really don't have brains. He should know if he didn't fight back at that time, there would be no way to find us. Who doesn't know that we are good at swimming and fighting, and how can we wait for them to fight back?" Said, even Chi Knight's corner of the mouth also some stretch not to live, peeps out a light smile. "It's good. I like the style of the Beast Gate." The dragon leans evil spirit to smile, the mood suddenly becomes good. Suddenly, someone came running from behind. "Boss." Boss with a slight pick on his brow, Long Qingxing thought that he had come to report the news today. He saw a guard running from there with an envelope. Without time to breathe, he handed the envelope to Long Qingxie and said, "Boss, someone asked me to give you this letter." "Give it to me." Long Qingxie was a little confused and strange. "Who would write to me?" Then he took it from the guard's hand and weighed it. It was thick and even more strange. He took the envelope and opened it. Shengguan and Qi Yi's also stepped forward. When the envelope was opened, the pupils of the three suddenly dilated. The first piece of paper in it was actually the topographic map of the headquarters of the Beast Gate, which made 3 people's eyes open a little bit. Who is so powerful that he sent us all the topographic maps? Shangguan could not close his mouth and turned down quickly. As you can see, the next one is the deployment of the major divisions of the Beast Gate. The next one is the detailed rules of the division of the Beast Gate headquarters. Each one is detailed enough to let 3 people breathe cold. It feels like something drawn by the people inside the Beast Gate. Long Qingxie frowned tightly and muttered in his heart, "Who gave this thing to me in the end? Is it the spy who broke into the enemy by my side?" Thinking and shaking his head, it's impossible that no one around can walk into the interior of the Beast Gate. This is for sure, so who is this person? Oh, my God, if we have this thing, will it not be like a tiger adding wings? In the future, we will attack the Beast Gate, which is a great achievement. Shangguan was very surprised. Looking around, he saw Qi Yi's and Long Qingxie frowning and silent. With an embarrassed smile, he touched his nose. Of course, the premise is that what is written in it is correct. The more you look, the more suspicious you feel. Long Qingxie murmured, but we soon passed the gate of the Beast Gate headquarters. It seems that the deployment of troops there is similar to that here. If this letter is true, it's easy to say. If it's the enemy's trap to lure us into the trap. A speech, let the officer also frown. Let's sit down and study it. The other 2 agreed, so they called Mu Xiuming and Len Qingshui. Thinking that the camp was not very safe, several people went to the camp and let the guards guard outside. No one was allowed to come in. Look at this letter. The dragon put the envelope on the table. Several people picked up the letter and looked at it carefully for a long time. Then, everyone's eyes were full of shock. Is this true? Asked Mu Xiuming. Long Qingxie frowned, touched his chin and sighed. I hope he is true, but now I don't know whether the information is true or false. Somebody Dragon Qingxie suddenly said, and saw a guard running in outside, bowing to Dragon Qingxie. Go and call me the person who received the letter today. In a short time, the person who received the letter had arrived and stood beside several people. I ask you, who gave you this letter? Long Qingxie asked seriously. The guard still had some hoodwinks. He looked at Long Qingxie and the letter in his hand. He scratched his head and said, that man is wearing a veil. I can't see who it is. And the voice? Long Qingxie asked. The voice is strange, too. The guard replied. So he's not around us. Long Qingxie sighed, looked at the letter in his hand, hesitated for a while, and said, well, since this letter has told us so much information, we can't slack off. From today on, we will make preparations. On the one hand, we will continue to investigate and follow up whether the information is true. On the other hand, we will adjust our team according to the information, so as to strive for the best posture fight. Everyone around nodded seriously. Soon, the notice was sent to all camps, and everyone began to talk about who was the person who sent the information to them. Long Qingxie looks at the letter in his hand. The font on the letter is very strange. He studies it for a day, but he still can't see what it is. Mu Xiuming came in, sat opposite Long Qingxie, lowered his head to drink tea, and said, I think there should be no problem with this information. We began to seriously study the specific content of this letter. One person, one piece of paper, everyone starts to look. What Long Qingxie got in his hand was a picture of the next action direction of the Beast Gate. Among them, one woman discovered that Long Qingxie and others had left the base, so they planned to occupy the base again. So they sent 4,000 soldiers to enter the base from 4 directions, east, west, north and south. By the way, they searched in 4 directions to find out the whereabouts of Long Qingxie and others. Long Qingxie frowned tightly. Looking at the time, it seemed that it was this afternoon. He could not help picking his eyebrows slightly. Is it true or not? If that's the case, how many people can we send here to sneak on them, and the situation of false information should be included. This makes Long Qingxie feel depressed and frown. Long Qingxie, according to my intelligence, the branch of 10,000 beasts, that is, the place we used to occupy, now has about 4,000 people to settle in. If the headquarters of 10,000 beasts sends so many people, they will send out the patrol of the central part of the headquarters to the support branch. Therefore, their internal center is the most vulnerable place. Such a huge loophole. Long Qingxie murmured, but if it is like this, it means that they expect that we have no ability to invade the center of the beast gate. They will certainly send the strongest people to guard the gate of the headquarters, so it is the most stupid plan for us to attack the headquarters of the gate of beasts. Long Qingxie sneered, I see, we will divide into 4 ways, to attack them. Then he took out the map around the valley, put it on the table, stood up, pointed to the points on the map and said, look here. Everyone stood up and looked at the direction of the dragon. This is our valley, and this is the branch of the gate of beasts. Although we are not far away from them, it is not easy for them to find us, but this place is full of valleys and low hills. It is impossible for them to come from the ridge, and they must march in the valley. In this case, we will ambush on the opposite side of the ridge, and march on the mountain. Fang should attack them with archers. Well, I also know that there are countless huge stones on the north mountain not far from here. Now they are standing on the top of the mountain and are already crumbling. Shangguan laughed, pointed to a mountain in the north and said, this is it. When I went to check that day, I found that this place is a good place for large-scale attacks. If those stones rolled down the hillside, it must be very spectacular. Everyone can't help but open their eyes and smile. In that case, let's make 2 plans. The first one is that if this information is correct, we will send archers to ambush on the ridge and divide the troops into 3 routes. In the north, we need people with higher level to push the stones down there. All the people responded. The second plan, we have to consider, if this information is wrong. Long Qingxie frowned and looked at the plan in his hand. I think if this information is wrong, these 4,000 people have not been sent out at all. Shangguan scratched his head and didn't understand. If these 4,000 people didn't come out, we wouldn't have saved this effort. What if these people break into the branch from one direction? Or what if it wasn't 4,000 but 8,000? The dragon inclines to heresy. In my opinion, it should not be possible. Shangguan seriously said, as far as I know, the headquarters of Wanwoman has always been to dispatch and support all branches, and then give orders to dispatch experts. Now, the situation is turbulent, the major branches of Wanwoman are in danger, and the general headquarters of Wanwoman is also in a time of empty power. If more people are sent to the branches now, it will be a great help now. They must cherish the opportunity of sneaking attack on the headquarters. They are afraid that there will be any more accidents, and they will put the headquarters in directly. On hearing this, Long Qingxie nodded clearly, that is to say, there are not so many people in the Beast Gate to send now, so we don't have to worry that their number will be more than 4,000. That's good. Since they attack us secretly, we will fight against them. Come on, send out 4 killer teams to continue to explore the authenticity of the news, and the rest, follow me, we will lead the team to attack the Beast Gate. Then he stood up with a smile on his lips, evil and cunning. The archers were divided into 3 groups. There were not many archers, but on the top of the mountain they were enough to stop most people from attacking. In order to prevent the missing people from escaping from the encirclement, they sent people to the branch of the Gate of Beasts on the way of sneak attack. So the army went into the valley. At noon, the sun came down on the top of my head. It was very dazzling and the sun was burning. Everyone was sweating and insects were flying. This bothered everyone who was ambushing behind the ridge. However, when we thought about the next battle, we all had to bear it. Time gradually passed, the sun from the middle of the sky has been gradually westward, but, in the whole canyon, did not see the man's figure. It's depressing for everyone. Shangguan, Long Qingxie, Mu Xiuming and Gao Yu, who were ambushing in 4 directions, all looked puzzled, and the cold water on standby also seemed a little impatient. What's the matter? Does it mean that this information is really false? Long Qingxie said to himself, sure enough, I still can't believe strange letters like this. I couldn't help sighing in my heart, but I thought it was afternoon in the letter, so I continued to wait patiently on the ridge. So an hour passed, and everyone was more anxious. Some people's eyes were already hot and angry. Obviously, we could not wait any longer. Just when Long Qingxie was about to order the retreat, suddenly, the sharp-eyed Long Qingxie suddenly saw that there was a small black wave under the shadow of the slanting sun in the far valley, moving quietly. This team is very scattered, some people in the valley, some people in the hillside, almost all of them are quietly looking for something. Here it is. Shangguan was also excited and almost cried out. He saw the man in black not far away, breathing heavily. He turned to look behind him, and the men behind him were also excited. Yes, it seems that the intelligence was right. From a high point of view, after diving into a valley, the team of the 10,000 Beast Gate dispersed. From the four directions of east, west, north and south, more than 1,000 people seemed to form a circle, and they began to search in a carpet style at a distance of half a mile. Sure enough, they are looking for the existence of Long Qingxie and others. Long Qingxie looked at them and couldn't help laughing. Sure enough, they were looking for the existence of their own people, and they were defending carefully in order to continue to take back their base. Finally, in the slow search, the black-robed man gradually approached the front of the mountain where everyone was ambushing. Long Qingxie looked at the shadow of those people and raised his right hand gently. The archers behind them also raised their bows and arrows one after another and ambushed behind the rocks. The black-robed people didn't have the slightest vigilance. Shangguan gently raised his hand. The man standing behind the stone was ready to push the stone. All of a sudden, Long Qingxie and Shangguan suddenly put down their hands. Suddenly, the archers behind Long Qingxie and Mu Xiuming have quickly sent out their arrows. And the people next to Shangguan gathered their fighting spirit in the palm of their hands and pushed them down the slope. There was a howl at the foot of the mountain. Everyone was struggling to escape, but the dragon didn't give everyone a chance. At the same time, all the people behind him rushed out and killed as long as anyone came to the place where the black-robed people fled. All of a sudden, there was a river of blood in the valley, and the cry of the people in black robes could not be heard. After the rolling boulders rolled down the mountain, the people at the foot of the mountain were smashed beyond recognition. Those black-robed people had no time to defend, so they had been killed by the dragon's evil people. There's no fighting back. Shangguan couldn't help laughing. There is no standard in this battle. So say, but the corner of the mouth still can't help but stir up the proud smile. Behind pushed the stone of those people, all restrained didn't turn over the white eyes of the officer. Long Qingxie looked at the direction of the branch, and the black-robed people were dead and injured before they got to this distance. The information was very timely and effective. But who is this man? A big win. When Long Qingxie and others stopped, there was no one injured or wounded in the team behind him, even no one to scratch their skin. Before we got back to the valley, everyone was boiling. Boss, they're back. Oh, my God. Did you really win it all? It's said that this time, without any effort, we easily killed the 4,000 troops of the Beast Gate. Ha ha ha, it's so powerful that I can see the future of the Beast Gate. When Long Qingxie and others returned to the valley, the atmosphere of the whole valley was very high. The eyes of Long Qingxie and others were full of admiration and excitement. For a moment, the speed and accuracy of the battle made everyone in the valley spread. This makes Long Qingxie feel very happy. At least, if we haven't lost, our morale will be higher and higher. If this kind of morale can continue, we will have a better chance of winning the battle against the Beast Gate. When we got back to the camp, we sat together again and found a trusted brother to guard the gate. Several people sat in the camp and discussed the information. I especially want to know, is there anyone in the Beast Gate that we sent? The officer looked at the information in his hand. This information is a map, a topographic map of the headquarters of the Beast Gate and its influence branch. How many people there are in each place have been clearly drawn, and this place is the most familiar one for the Shangguan. The terrain drawn here is completely correct. I'm really surprised. Who is the expert? They also experienced the battle in the afternoon. Now the authenticity of this intelligence has been fully verified. Next, we have to study this intelligence carefully to use it in future battles. Ah, I think the face of Shangguanzheng will fall to the ground next. It's really exciting. Shangguan laughed and stretched out. It's really meaningless to fight effortlessly. He turned his head and put his arms around Long Qingxia's shoulder. He said with a smile, when will there be an exciting confrontation? I think you think too much. Long Qingxia glanced at the officer and said, what we need most now is to preserve our troops and combat effectiveness. If we lose too many people now, there will be no way to summon more people to fight in the future. Just then, the gatekeeper ran over and yelled, Boss. Here comes the messenger again. All of them were in a daze, and then ran in the direction of the sound without saying a word. But I saw that the shadow at the entrance had already run to the distance. Damn it! Wait a minute! Long Qingxia yelled and chased the man, but soon the man had disappeared. Everyone stopped, looked at the place where the figure disappeared and said, maybe he just doesn't want us to know who he is. Well, there are many people and many eyes. If he is found, he can't continue to stay in the Beast Gate. With that, Long Qingxia went back to the guard, took the envelope in his hand and walked towards the camp. Upper bound, Beast Gate headquarters. Shangguan frowned and repeatedly checked the situation reported by many people below, frowning tightly, especially about the news from the human world. The area near the teleportation array has been completely occupied by the forces of Cloud Dance. We have lost a lot of hands in their hands, and 7 of them are willing realm. When the news from the human world was reported, all the people in the hall were calm. Although the human world is not as important as the upper world, it is not a small area, and it is the most attractive place of the Beast Gate besides the upper world. Now it is so grasped by the Cloud Dance. According to the current situation, it will be sooner or later to be recovered. Suzerain, the human world is asking for support. I hope to help us dispatch experts as soon as possible. The man who just reported the news of the human world carefully said the last sentence, but after that, he didn't want to see Guanzhong's expression at all. Shangguanzheng's face was not very good, and it was even worse now. Since the victory of the battle in which Sheng Guanli was rescued last time, Shangguanzheng has never won any more. In particular, the victory that was clearly planned for the promotion of marriage a few days ago was defeated by Long Qingxia, which made Shangguanzheng in a bad mood. Dispatch Master. Do they think that the experts of the 10,000 Beast sect can be cultivated casually? Don't you know that the upper bound is also in need of employing people now? Where has such high master card in the past? Shangguanzheng said coldly, I send them to guard the human world. Is it to let those waste people cheat them to eat and drink with the power of the Beast Gate? A bunch of useless rubbish. Damn it! The people below quickly lowered their heads. How dare they say anything? At this time, if anyone dares to contradict, I'm afraid that he will die in Shangguanzheng's hands. But now, is it really like Shangguanzheng saying that if the upper world is short of manpower, it doesn't care about the human world? Isn't that the world of people who worked so hard just ruined? Lord! In the end, Shangguan stood up. Shangguanzheng looked at him coldly and didn't speak. Shangguanli felt numb when he looked at him, but he said, Lord, we can't give up the human world. Although they are powerful, I think that they are just a group of people who are good at assassination. That's why they can win many times and leave as fast as possible. So they don't need too many experts to deal with them. On the other hand, there are all armies in the human world, which is the most urgent time to employ people. Shangguanli's words expressed the feelings of many people present, and then nodded one after another. Shangguanzheng's look is more fierce. He hates other people's words more than his own. He can't help squinting at Shangguanzheng. Shangguanli suddenly realized that he seemed to have made a taboo, but he could not care about anything. Since the deputy lord said so. After staring at him for a long time, Shangguanzheng finally said, let's listen to the deputy leader and send someone to support us. As for how many experts we will send, let the deputy leader arrange. I believe that although the power of the deputy lord is not so good, his brain is still there. Shangguanli even nodded hastily, didn't dare to see the look of Shangguanzhong, respectfully said, "Thank you for your trust. Go down." Shangguanzhong said, then waved, "Let Shangguanli down." Until Shangguanli left, Shangguanzhong asked again, "What's the preparation for the next action?" As soon as the voice fell, someone immediately came up and said respectfully, "Back to the Lord, I have been ordered to go down according to the plan, waiting for your arrangement at any time." "Good." Shangguanzhong nodded with satisfaction and said, "This time, we must catch the dragon. I want to live, yes, the human world." Cloud danced with a pair of hands toward the soldier's training place. Since occupying the base of Wanwoman, Yunwu has transformed it. As the most important place, the martial arts arena is naturally indispensable, and other places have been established according to needs. Now it's a formal war. Many places are different from before, but thanks to Gao Yu's help. They sent people to defend all the places near the base, as well as special patrols and soldiers to train in turn. The fighting situation is good, but Yunwu has encountered a bottleneck. "It's been a long time since our strength reached the realm of Wuling, but we still haven't gone any further. It seems that we can break through at any time, but we can't move forward anyway." Yunwu is not in a hurry. Until now, he needs an opportunity. The most important thing in war is opportunity. "Good morning, Chief." "Chief, why are you free? Are you here to guide us?" "Chief, you see, is this right here?" Many soldiers saw Yunwu, so they said hello to Yunwu one after another. Yunwu was also impolite and gave some advice from time to time. He stayed around for a long time, but he didn't see Gao Yu. So he grabbed a soldier and asked, "Do you see General Gao?" "The general is in his room. It seems that he is discussing the next battle strategy with other generals. Let's not disturb him. But if you're looking for the leader, you can go straight there." "What's the next strategy?" Cloud Dance came to be interested, so he ran to Gao Yu's room. When he arrived at Gao Yu's residence, he didn't see anyone else. He just saw Gao Yu frowning and thinking. As soon as he heard the footsteps of Cloud dancing, his brow was even tighter. "What's the matter?" Gao Yu asked without raising his head. Cloud Dance Leng, then smiled joke, "See how your task progress." Then Gao Yu stood up and said, "Chief. What are you doing here?" Yunwu sat down at random and asked, "Come and check the task." "What about?" "I hear you're thinking about the next strategy." "What's the problem?" He has a sad face. Gao Yu sighed and said, "There are not enough people." "Not enough people?" Cloud Dance doubts of ask away. "Yes." Gao Yu nodded and said, "Although our army is very powerful, we are here to fight after all. We will lose more and more people, and we will continue to occupy new places. Every place must be guarded. If it goes on like this, all the troops will be used to guard, and there will be no one to fight. But if it's all war, then we don't have enough people to watch the world we're fighting. I'm afraid we'll be taken advantage of by the Beast Gate again." Cloud Dance nodded and felt that it was really a big question. "What can you do?" "I want to recruit troops to see if anyone wants to join us, so that we can have enough troops," Gao said. Cloud Dance nodded and said, "It's really a good way. It's necessary to march and fight. It's just that I'd like to make a suggestion." "What advice?" Gao Yu said doubtfully. "There are different countries in the human world. Almost every country has the base of the Beast Gate. Although we say that we are recovering the human world, you will not change the recovered place into our country. My suggestion is that we should be responsible for guarding the teleportation array. Based on this, we should fight one by one. Without destroying a base, we should go to the leader of that country and cooperate with them to eliminate all the beasts in the country. As for the problem of guarding, they should be responsible for themselves. If they are attacked by the Beast Gate again, send a message immediately, and we will go." Gao Yu's eyes brightened, as if he had got some good news, and said excitedly, "Yes, in this way, more and more countries will destroy the base, and then they can unite, and the force against the Beast Gate will be more and more powerful. If they are willing to support us to join us, we will be better, and they can also provide supplies. In a word, we are only responsible for marching and fighting against the beast gate. Chief, what a good idea you have. I believe that no country will refuse this request. Yunwu looks at Gao Yu and shakes his head helplessly. In fact, this idea comes to his mind after listening to Gao Yu's plan to recruit. Seeing that Gao Yu agrees with his idea, he strikes while the iron is hot and discusses the details with Gao Yu. Gao Yu was in high spirits at this time. He immediately ordered people to call all the other leaders. After discussion, they all thought that this method was feasible, so they released their tasks while they were fully staffed. A casual meeting was held for 2 hours. After that, people still felt that there was still something to be desired. It's done. Gao Yu put down his pen and took a deep breath. Then he handed over what he had just written to Yunwu. He had time to have a rest. Yunwu picked up the things and looked at them carefully. At this time, the other people in the room have all dispersed, only Gao Yu and Yunwu are still here, and the meeting has already dispersed. What Gao Yugang has just written is a document sent to various countries. It has the seal of Yun Jiejun in his hand. In the future, cooperation with other countries can't do without this thing. Now he just draws it up and gives it to Yunwu to have a look. Well, not bad. Cloud Dance looked at it carefully and felt that there was no need to modify it, so she nodded with satisfaction. Gao Yu breathed a sigh of relief, immediately put the thing away. Until now, this matter is finally over. From tomorrow, the plan will be put into effect. Cloud Dance finally ordered then stood up and left the room. The moon and the stars are shining outside. Yunwu is walking on the road. The night wind blows gently across his face. The people who blow it are very comfortable. Even all kinds of energy in the air flow with him. Yunwu squints his eyes and enjoys the breeze. Then he suddenly gets interested and starts to feel the power of flow in the air. The perception of Cloud Dance is very strong. After the detailed feeling, the flow becomes clearer. Yunwu slightly adjusted his breathing, so that his breathing speed slowly close to the speed of the energy flow, and finally even achieved every breath can be synchronized with the flow. Every part of the body seems to be able to echo the energy, and the forces of various elements between heaven and earth are waving to her. At this time, she didn't even enter the cultivation state. Cloud Dance can't help but slow down, and then slowly stop, finally rise directly, unexpectedly sit everywhere, directly close your eyes and enter the cultivation state. Yunwu, who has resonance with the power, can feel the resonance more clearly after entering the cultivation state. At the moment, she is like a dry sponge, absorbing the power of elements between heaven and earth, and strengthening the energy in her body bit by bit. Not only the power of elements, but also the fighting spirit is affected by Cloud Dance, and I don't know why. The bottleneck of Cloud Dance for many days seems to be loosening at this moment. But Yunwu didn't notice it. Instead, he entered the cultivation of his whole body, and his body seemed to blend with nature. At this moment, although it was the Cloud Dance with eyes closed, I felt as if I could detect the scene far away, even the sound of leaves from the distance mixed in the wind could be heard clearly. The next morning, when the door of a nearby house was opened, a voice of surprise came. Why? Isn't this the leader? Why are you sitting here? The first one who came out looked at the Cloud Dance sitting on the ground in doubt. You didn't wake up, did you? How did the leader come here at this time? You must be blinded. What a leader. Am I blinded, too? The second came out of the same shock said, even reached out and rubbed his eyes, a look of disbelief. Why is the chief here? Seems to be still practicing. Did the chief sit here all night? More and more room doors are opened, so more and more people see the Cloud dancing on the ground, and even they forget what they are about to gather. What are you doing here? Why don't you wash? Are you going to be late? A dignified voice came, and everyone immediately stopped talking, and then gave way to Gao Yu. When he saw the figure of Yunwu, Gao Yu was obviously stunned. Then he found that Yunwu seemed to be practicing. He couldn't help muttering, "Didn't you go back yesterday?" General Gao, how can the leader practice here? Is there any aura here? a poor soldier asked with a smile. Gao Yu glared at him. Do you want to take care of the leader's affairs? Get ready. I'll punish you for being late later. As soon as the words came out, the crowd quickly scattered and did not dare to stay. Gao Yu took a look at Yunwu and said, no one is allowed to disturb the leader. Then he went to the arena. Gao Yu knew in his heart that Yunwu was in the state of cultivation. He was afraid of the chance of breakthrough, so he was so selfless. But the plan made the day before should go ahead as usual. In the martial arts arena, Gao Yu summoned all the people and rearranged the work for them. Then he issued the latest order, attack the beast gate. As soon as the order was given, the soldiers were boiling with blood. After all, they are all soldiers. They stay here all day waiting for the beast gate to come up, but their defense has long been numb. What they are looking forward to is that they can directly hit the beast gate in the face. Finally, now the opportunity has come. First goal. Claw Xian country. Be sure to take this country back from the beast gate. Do you have confidence? Gao Yu stood on the stage and cried out. Yes. People in the army yelled excitedly, everyone's face was full of blood boiling, and some soldiers who were in charge of guarding the base looked at those who were going to fight with envy. Good. Let's go. Attack the beast gate, Gao Yu yelled, and then directly took the lead in front of him, with a huge army running to Zhaoshan country. Claw Xian country is a small border country close to the transmission array. There are not many experts in the 10,000 Beast Gate base, so Gao Yu doesn't bring many people this time, but they are all top 1 experts. It's no problem to deal with those people. The army entered the border of Zhaoshan Kingdom. Since it was ruled by one human, there was no border problem between countries. Anyway, it was the territory of one human. Gao Yu took the map that he had sent someone to find out in advance and ran directly to the base of the Beast Gate. It was a win-win battle. Even before the battle started, Gao Yu arranged for someone to send documents to the royal family. The army did not hide the slightest meaning, so they went to the base in a mighty and righteous way. All the places they passed by were shouting the slogan of attacking the Beast Gate in the shocked eyes of the residents of Zhaoshan. All the people who met the Beast Gate on the road were not let go, so they fought in a righteous way. What did you say? Someone called. In the base of Xian Kingdom, the highest authority of the 10,000 Beast Gate said in shock. Yes. It's the army dancing in the clouds. Yunjiajin. The one who killed many of our experts a few days ago. The news has reached the upper headquarters. They're coming. Among the beasts, they got the news of the arrival of the army, and they were immediately flustered. They are used to domineering, where would they think of going to war? Who dares to do this to them? What shall we do, elder? Shall we go to war or not? If you can't fight. Someone was about to cry. Looking at the elder above, he said. Fight? We can't make it. What else can we do? Run away, the elder said, and immediately disappeared from his position. The people below were stunned. It took a long time for them to know what happened. The elders say go and go. So they were all flustered. No one dared to stay a moment longer. They went back to their own places and began to pack up. They just wanted to leave here before the army arrived. As for the minions, who cares about them? When Gao Yu and others finally arrived at the gate of the base, the gatekeeper in the base didn't realize what had happened. He saw Gao Yu's mouth and looked at those people's eyes as if they were looking at a group of dead people. He simply waved and said coldly, attack. Kill dash, the army rushed in, and the people of the Phoenix family took the lead. All kinds of phoenix directly turned into the main body and rushed to the sky. With a mouth of beast, they spewed hot flames directly at the base. The well-trained team of the Cloud family army rushed in directly, and all the people of the beast sect started without mercy. For a moment, the screams began to ring one after another. Gao Yu was in the front of the team. A long sword in his hand radiated a cold light. What was colder than that was his fierce eyes. All his hatred towards the beast gate was turned into this attack. The base of one human was built in the most prosperous area of the imperial capital. When the army entered the city, almost half of the people in the country saw the well-trained army with their own eyes. Even when attacking the base, many people in the capital saw the war with their own eyes. Those hot flames set off the whole sky as red, splashing blood dyed the soldiers' robes. They realized for the first time, in fact, those beast men are not very powerful. As long as they are willing to resist, those people will also be their subordinates. Aware of this, the residents have also taken up arms to join the fight. It's almost a one-sided killing. Some Wanorsen who tried to escape were even stopped and killed by some residents who volunteered to join. The people who used to look at them with fear in the past are now the god of death. They don't have the strength to resist, even the idea to resist. In the face of these crazy people, how scared they were in the past, how hateful they are now. Gao Yu stopped and stood on a high ground, looking at everything in front of him coldly. These people who used to be powerful and lucky in the past have finally come to an end today. At the same time, in the imperial palace of Zhaoshan State, an emissary of the Cloud family army took the document from the emperor's hand and looked at it carefully. After confirming that there was no problem, he put the document in his arms with a smile and put it carefully, for fear that he might damage it accidentally. Then we can cooperate with each other from now on. Please let us know if there is any news about the Beast Gate, and we will get rid of them. The emperor nodded and said politely, "Your food and grass are now in our charge. Please rest assured. I just hope you can get rid of the Beast Gate as soon as possible." The two happily reached an agreement, and then the emissary of the Cloud family army left the palace. The front foot just left here, and someone came back to report the battle results of one human base. The emperor stood up excitedly from his position and issued an order, "Pass me the order. We will prepare food and grass to help Yunjiajin fight. Blockade the whole country. Anyone who sees the Beast Gate will be killed. All officers and men of the Yun family army enjoy the best treatment in China." The first battle was successful, but Yunwu was still immersed in his own cultivation and didn't know about it. When Gao Yu came back with the army, he saw that Yunwu was still practicing, so he kindly comforted the soldiers not to disturb, and then arranged the next plan. On the second day, a new group of soldiers attacked another neighboring country. In the evening, the troops returned and still succeeded. As time goes by, it will be 7 days in a flash. 7 days later, at noon, Cloud Dance, which had been sitting on the ground for 7 days, finally got some movement. First, the breath on the body fluctuated for a while, and then fell into calm again. Yunwu's eyebrows seemed to be slightly wrinkled, and soon spread out. If someone is around at this time, you will be able to hear a slight "bo" sound, as if the bubble burst, but it is very clear. The breath of Cloud Dance changed in an instant, and then more powerful than before. The whole valley can clearly feel the power. What's the matter? Is it the Gate of Beasts? Just after a battle the day before yesterday, the Yun family army, which was correcting at this time, was on alert. Although they have just finished a battle, they still have to maintain the highest vigilance to prevent the Beast Gate from coming at any time. No. Another said, "Is it the leader who broke through?" As soon as his voice fell, several people on guard around him were stunned, and then they rushed out as if they had discussed and ran to the location where Yunwu was. See, Cloud Dance side already for a lot of people, all are the soldiers who are shocked by that prestige. Gao Yu is not here at this time. Although they dare not disturb Yunwu, they also know how to protect the Dharma for Yunwu spontaneously, so that no one in the Beast Gate will feel what's coming. Who knows how long it will take to break through? As soon as they saw Cloud Dance like this, they knew it was a breakthrough, so they were relieved. The fluctuation of Yunwu's breath is more and more obvious, and the hearts of the soldiers are also excited. One by one, they are seriously staring at Yunwu, and they are very curious about the promotion of Wuling Realm. Later, a soldier suddenly exclaimed, "My God! This energy fluctuation!" As soon as the words came out, people found that they didn't know when the energy fluctuation in the air became more and more obvious. Even around the clouds, there were more and more obvious energy vortices visible to the naked eye. It turns out that the promotion just now didn't stop. Yunwoo's strength accumulated for a long time, combined with the 7 days of day and night cultivation, just entered the state. She planned to use this opportunity to advance to Wuling Peak. When they realized this, they immediately admired Yunwoo's family and waited patiently. Finally, in the evening, Cloud Dance has been tightly closed, eyes opened. For a moment, the pressure of Wuling Peak was directly emitted from the body. Advance to Wuling Peak. It was a long time before the prestige was taken back. Yunwoo's eyes were bright, but when he saw that there were so many people around, he didn't feel surprised. Chief, congratulations on the breakthrough. The officers and soldiers came forward to congratulate one after another. Yunwoo stood up, stretched out his arms, sat for 7 days and asked the soldier, "How long have I practiced?" Back to the leader, "It's been 7 days. Cloud Dance is stretching body meal, slightly surprised way, 7 days. Haven't you started yet? Soldiers, coax, a smile, how can it? We are all retired in turn today. General Gao took other legions to attack the base and went there early in the morning. If it goes well, I'm afraid I'll be back soon. Cloud Dance, listen, this just put down the heart. From the expression of the soldiers, it seems that the development of these 7 days is very smooth, so he left Gao Yu came to let him find me, then turned back to his room. On this day, when Gao Yu came back, it was already late at night. When he learned the news of Yunwoo from the soldiers, he went directly to Yunwoo's residence. Chief, Gao Yu said with a tired face, and there was a trace of sadness between his eyebrows. Yunwoo had a bad premonition. What's the matter? The beast sect sent people here. They seem to have their own teleportation array. Today, we are fighting, but suddenly some top martial arts experts come out. The soldiers can't retreat. The war was defeated. Gao Yu sighed and said, there are not many casualties, just we lost 2 generals, both of whom were masters of Emperor Wu. Cloud Dance's eyebrow a wrinkly, haven't had time to say what. Gao Yu knelt down in front of him and said, Chief, it's my fault that I didn't take precautions against the Beast Gate. These days, we have taken back 6 countries in a row, and the countries are connected with each other. Seeing our momentum getting better and better, more and more people are willing to join us to fight against the Beast Gate, so some of them are arrogant and think it's not hard to deal with the Beast Gate, so they have the present result. Chief, you punish me. My subordinates are willing to be punished. Cloud Dance raised his hand, and a soft force pulled Gao Yu up. Then he said, no wonder you have been fighting for so many days, and the action of the Beast Gate is not what we can expect. Tomorrow you have a rest, I'll lead the troops. Chief, please let me also. On hearing this, Gao Yu immediately asked. You stay and rest. Cloud Dance serious say, for the first time so severe to Gao Yu said. Gao Yu pursed his mouth and kept silent for a long time. Finally, he bowed his head respectfully and said, yes. Then he explained his progress in these days, and then he turned around and left Yunwoo's room. It wasn't until Gao Yu left that Yunwoo sighed. She didn't blame Gao Yu, but she clearly felt Gao Yu's fatigue. She knew that he had been exhausted these days, so that's why. So let's go out tomorrow. In the early morning of the next day, Yunwoo summoned all the summoning beasts directly, adding positions to their original team, and then led the army to the base. The failure of the previous day has led many people to doubt whether the Yunjiajin can succeed. However, in the face of the long-term oppression of one human, they are not willing to continue. Moreover, because of the failure of the previous day, one human has become more rampant and more unscrupulous towards people in these countries. As a result, when the Cloud Dance team just arrived at the border of the country, they saw the troops from various countries who had been waiting for a long time. When the two armies met, if there were not too many, they directly merged into an army and ran to the base with the fastest speed. The whole army. This is an unprecedented cooperation. Those who were afraid of the Beast Gate in the past all stood in front today. When he arrived at the base of Wanwoman, Yunwoo said nothing and gave a direct order. Several summoning beasts showed themselves one after another, and rushed up with the army according to the plan that had been set long ago. Those who joined later simply followed a summoner and became their assistant. They didn't need too many tactics, they only knew how to kill. Kill the beast gate. Several summoning beasts in the Wuling realm consciously fight one master, and Yunwu is even more responsible. They fight 3 with 1. In a moment, they stop all the masters who were in trouble the day before. As always, the army rushed into the base, and another one-sided massacre started at the end of the Battle of the Army below. The Battle of Wuling Realm in the sky also has a result. There are 10 Wuling top experts. In addition, all the masters of Xiaoqiu and Shiding have fallen. In such a short time, the battle is divided. Retreat! The most powerful one shouts, and the others dare not stay at all. They rush away in the distance. Want to go? It's not that easy. Small Stinky roars away, a pair of wings clap to want to catch up with. Little Stink, come back. Cloud Dance quickly shouts away. Small Stinky footstep meal, doubt of looking at Cloud Dance. Cloud Dance's line of sight is placed on the battle below, simple and clear command way, go down, help the army. After that, he flew to the bottom first. A few summon beast helpless, No at this time is in the battlefield, not between private fight, so did not directly catch up. The battle ended quickly with a shout. With the help of the Cloud Dance of Wuling Peak and the help of various countries, the next battle became very smooth. Even when there were countries that had not yet started war, they could not wait to fight against the Beast Gate for a moment. The whole human world fell into war, boss. Anonymous letter. A guard came in from the door and handed an anonymous letter to Long Qingxie, which made Long Qingxie grin. It's been 2 months. We rely on the intelligence of the mysterious man to weaken the attack of the Beast Gate and the power of other branches. If you let me know who this person is, I will invite him to dinner and drink. Shengguan laughed, opened the envelope, looked at it, and said with a smile, it seems that we should have a new trend again. The new news this time is about the northeast branch of the Gate of Beasts. Long Qingxie and others have read it for a long time, and they are very confident. You see, there are only a few people in this branch, only more than 1,000, and they have to inspect it. If you remove the inspectors, I think it's just the gatekeeper. It seems that this mysterious man still understands us. Long Qingxie and others began to plan for a new round of attack. But I don't think this attack can even be used by the Killer Corps. Mu Xiuming said, the strength of this division is really poor. Moreover, the Killer Corps has fought the most times in recent months. If we keep sending them, I'm afraid their lethality will be greatly reduced. So now, we'd better put down the Killer Corps and send the scattered forces to practice. With that, Long Qingxie thought it was reasonable. Suddenly, his eyes lit up and he said, it seems that there is someone I haven't seen for a long time. Turning to the guard at the door, he called, go and find Chong Guangji for me. So soon, Chong Guangji walked into the tent very uneasily, stood beside Long Qingqing and others, and watched Long Qingxi carefully. How are you doing, Chong Guangji? Long Qingxie asked. It felt like he was a brother who seldom met. He was talking about his family. Boss, you can still think of me. Hearing Long Qingxie's tone, Chong Guangji was immediately relieved and said, Boss, you haven't paid attention to me for several months. Is it because of my poor strength that you don't bother to pay attention to me? So, he sighed, it's estimated that soon, you may have to kick our sword domain mercenary regiment out of power. It's really a grievance to say that. My eyes are red. Long Qingxie helplessly held his forehead. He never thought that such a big man would have such a delicate heart. He sighed and asked him to sit down and ask, how many people have you expanded your mercenary regiment to? At this time, Chong Guangji's eyes suddenly glowed. He laughed, then grabbed Long Qingxie's arm and said, Boss, you don't know, our mercenary regiment has nearly 1,000 people. Long Qingxie was a little stunned. He was so powerful that there were only 1,000 people in the twinkling of an eye. At the beginning, there were only a few young men with 30 people who didn't know anything. Thinking about this, he couldn't help laughing and said, how are you doing? What is the state and qualification of most people? Can you get the most out of the fight with the Beast Gate? He asked a lot of questions, which made Chong Guangji a little excited. He quickly nodded and said, "Don't worry, boss. Our Jianyu mercenary regiment is very strict now, and its training is no worse than that of other forces. We are all hard-working people who can make up for our incompetence. I believe we will become the most powerful team in the near future." Long Qingxie patted him on the shoulder, shook his head with a smile, and suddenly said, "If I ask you to go out and attack a branch of the Beast Gate, do you dare?" Chongguang Jiduan was stunned. When he looked at the dragon, his eyes were incredible, which made everyone around him laugh. Old. Chong Guangji stammered nervously. He looked at the dragon and pointed to himself. Then he stammered, do you want me to attack the Beast Gate?" Everyone looked at him with a smile and seemed to know about it. "Call out your men and let me see." With that, Long Qingxie walked out of the house. On the training ground, Chong Guangji arranges his sword field mercenary regiment in the open space and looks at the dragon. This group of people is obviously different from the previous Chongguang group. They are more sophisticated and deep. They just stand there, and the kind of beast-like bravery emanating from him is enough to make everyone dare not look directly at them. Long Qingxie said in his heart, yes. I've already seen very good results. I hope that the task of encircling and suppressing the northeast branch today will be handed over to you. Chong Guangji nodded seriously, turned his head and took the people around him to the outside of the valley. Beast Gate Headquarters. The atmosphere is as heavy as ever. Shengguanzhong sat on the throne, and the people below all bowed their heads and said nothing. Nevertheless, the news of being broken came from outside. "Boss." News from outside. The two small branches were attacked by Dragon Qingxie and suffered heavy losses. The northeast branch has been basically destroyed. With a loud bang, Shengguanzhong stood up, but the ground under his feet was broken, which made everyone look pale. They all bowed their heads and did not dare to say a word. How could that be? Shengguanzhong came down from the main position and walked slowly in the main hall, but he murmured to himself, "Why do the people over there know our whereabouts like the palm of their hands, and they are all right, that feeling?" Shengguanzhong touched his chin, very depressed. It felt like I was giving orders in front of them. Then, suddenly, Shengguanzhong's face sank. He looked up at a group of people in front of him, but found that their faces were suddenly ugly. "Is there a spy in our Beast Gate?" Shengguanzhong frowned. It seems that these people are not honest now. All of them bowed their heads and said nothing. When they were discussing with each other who was under their hands, they heard Shengguanzhong say to the people below, "You people standing in the main hall are people I trust very much, so I will give you the following orders." Everyone stopped talking and looked up at Shengguanzhong. Shengguanzhong pursed his mouth and sighed, "If there are any spies in our animal sect, we will know if we have a try. Today we give an order, and the day after tomorrow we will send 3,000 people to the northeast branch." After that, he gave a cold smile. "Then when you arrive around the northeast branch, you give an order to ambush on the mountains around the northeast branch. I want to see how this man can deal with this sudden order." Everyone in front of a bright have nodded yes, so with his people toward his team. At this time, Long Qingxie was very happy. In addition, Chong Guangji and his subordinates actually carried the northeast branch of the Beast Gate, which made Long Qingxie feel more happy. "Well done. It seems that I am very relieved to leave this place to you in the future." Long Qingxie patted Chong Guangji on the shoulder and laughed, "Okay, let's go." The next day, Long Qingxie received another anonymous letter. He quickly opened it to have a look. With this look, his eyes suddenly lit up. "Tomorrow noon, 30 million people from the animal sect will go to the northeast branch." Corner of the mouth, a sneer. In the early morning of the next day, Long Qingxie had arranged for everyone to walk towards the northeast branch. It was a long way, so before the moon went down completely, he had already gone towards that direction. "Then we'd better lie in ambush on the hillside," Shengguan suggested. "After all, it is the best place for vision and concealment." Long Qingxie and others agreed, so they gave an order to ambush around the valley. Suddenly, they heard a burst of cold laughter. What do I say? We really have spies. There was a thump in Long Qingxia's heart, but there was no way. He had to sacrifice his weapon and plan to fight with one of them. But not long after, all the mountains above the valley were full of black-robed people, each with weapons in his hand, and they looked very murderous. Long Qing's evil heart is evil. He quickly turns his head to look at the people behind him. However, he sees Shengguan come up to him and say to him, "You see, if his intelligence is not wrong, it's probably his trap. This time we will be caught all at once." Shengguan's Hong just laughed and fell from the sky. In an instant, a strong pressure let all people face a change. Long Qingxia waved his hand, and the team behind him all retreated. Long Qingxia sneered, looked up at Shengguan's Hong and said, "What a coincidence, how can I meet you here? Does it mean that someone here has revealed our whereabouts to you?" Shengguan's Hong was stunned and immediately burst out laughing. "It's really the dragon who has fallen into evil. I'm really looking down on you." Suddenly, he rushed forward and grabbed the dragon's evil face. "If you didn't put spies in my people, how could I lose so many people?" The anger in the words made Long Qingxia secretly happy, and he quickly avoided the attack of Shengguan's Hong. It seemed that this time it was the man's fault. He could not help but vomit in his heart, but suddenly worried about whether the man had been poisoned in the team of the Beast Gate. The black-robed men of the Beast Gate saw that Shengguan's Hong had begun to fight, and all of them attacked Shengguan's Hong and others as if they had been ordered. Long Qingxia is forced to retreat by Shengguan's Hong. He doesn't even have the chance to take out the épée. Qi Yi's has given up taking out the snake sword, takes out 2 small daggers from his body, and attacks the people in front of him. Qi Yi's, who is good at close combat, has a great advantage this time. However, Long Qingxia and others are now surrounded in the valley. The valley is easy to defend but hard to attack. They are below and the people of Shengguan's Hong are above, so they are in a very dangerous situation. Shengguan's Hong looked at the people of the Beast Gate standing on his head, and then looked at the dragon. With a smile, he suddenly raised his hand. The people standing above immediately received the order. There are countless people actually took out the bow and crossbow, and quickly attacked the dragon Qingxia and others. Shengguan's face turned pale in an instant. Looking at the sudden bow and arrow, he quickly dodged and blocked. However, the power of the bow and arrow was much greater than that of the bow and arrow, and the speed was also much faster. They could not completely block the bow and arrow. In an instant, countless flying arrows were shot down, and some people had fallen. Blood flow, which let Shengguan immediately red eyes. He quickly turned to look at the people behind him, shouting, "Hello! You people! Get me something to cover." For just then, the shoulder suddenly a sharp pain. Shengguan was forced to pull backward. At this time, he saw that his shoulder had been pierced by an arrow, and the pain almost made him faint. He quickly calmed down. But faster than he is calm is the flying arrow, which has been flying to Shengguan in an instant. Suddenly, the legs, arms, stomach, have been shot. His face suddenly pale to the extreme, in front of a black, pain surge hit. "Shengguan!" Qi Yi's voice suddenly rang out beside him, which inspired Shengguan's spirit. He moved his hands and feet, but found that he had no extra strength. "Shengguan!" Mu Xiuming also ran over. Seeing Shengguan's situation, his face suddenly changed. He said to Qi Yi's, "I'll cover you. Take the officer to a safe place." Qi Yi's didn't say a word. After a long time, he finally killed the wave of people coming in front of him. He turned his head and said, "I can't get rid of myself now. You can take him away." Mu Xiuming looked down at the dying Shengguan on the ground, frowned slightly, nodded and said to Qi Yi's, "Then you must be careful." Then, without waiting for Qi Yi's to nod his head, he broke Shengguan's long arrow, picked up Shengguan and flew to the back of the valley. There were fewer and fewer people in the rear. At the end of the day, there was only a little fight. Mu Xiuming looked ahead. There were several black-robed men guarding there. He suddenly took out his sword and quickly killed the black-robed man in front of him. Suddenly, he saw a cave. He was delighted and put Shangguan in the cave. Then he quickly gave him treatment. Shangguan is about to suffocate. With his eyes closed, his forehead is full of sweat. Mu Xiuming is nervous. He quickly clears the arrows on his body and begins to heal Shangguan. But Shangguan's injury is too heavy. I think of the dragon who is still fighting hard. Mu Xiuming sighed in his heart and stopped the bleeding wounds on Shangguan's body. Then he found a lot of hay and put it on Shangguan's body to cover him. Then he stood up and murmured to the Shangguan, I believe you can make it through, but now I need to help them. If they lack us at this moment, it will be more difficult. I'll help them first and then come to you. Then he ran out of the cave and saw the 2 dead men of the beast gate outside. He quickly dragged the 2 bodies away from the cave, dragged them to a place not far from the battlefield, threw them there, and then ran to the battlefield. Long Qingxie's blood spurted out and his face turned pale. He wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and looked at Shangguansheng warily. Obviously, Shangguansheng was in a bad mood today. The furious Shangguansheng was really hard to deal with. Turning to look behind him, his own people have been killed by the beast gate. Damn it, Dragon Qingxie roared, clenched his fist, and his eyes were burning with anger. Suddenly, his whole body was wrapped by black energy, and the black energy was like a burning black flame. His sword body was wrapped with energy, his eyes were red, and he quickly attacked Shangguansheng in front of him. Just a moment, it has disappeared in place, no trace. Shangguansheng's heart was tight, and he thought that the dragon was crazy. He quickly defended his whole body with black fighting chi, and watched around warily. The bow suddenly stopped firing. But just at this time, Shangguansheng heard the scream of heartbreaking around. Looking around, I saw the black-robed people flying out of thin air, and then fell heavily on the ground. Before I could react, one after another black-robed people suddenly broke their hands and feet, and their 7 orifices fell to the ground bleeding. His heart suddenly sank. Shangguansheng murmured in his heart. It seemed that he was really pushing the dragon forward. Qi Yi's, not far away, breathed out when he saw the situation of Long Qingxie. It seemed that he had energy in his heart, and the speed of killing the man in black robe was much faster. When Mu Xiuming saw that the crossbow had stopped, he was so happy that he went forward and said, Everyone, work harder. Fight! The brothers immediately clenched their teeth and rose up to resist. But just when Mu Xiuming and others speed up a lot, they see a large group of people with bows and arrows on their heads above the valley. Everyone ready to retreat. Long Qingxie yelled, and Mu Xiuming behind him yelled, Let's move there. Then he pointed to the place where Shangguan was hiding just now. At this time, Qi Night, a dull hum, fell to the ground. When Mu Xiuming looked around, he saw Qi Yi's stomach was pierced by a black-robed man's sword, and the blood was pouring down, which was extremely terrible. His face suddenly turned pale, but Qi Yi's bit his teeth, grabbed the sword body that penetrated his stomach, and drew out his snake sword. The black-robed man behind him still wanted to draw out his sword, but he found that he couldn't do it at all. In his heart, he was shocked, but suddenly the snake sword came through his body. The black-robed man had swallowed before he could close his eyes. Qi Yi's took a breath and fell to his knees with a plop. He gasped and gritted his teeth. Before he tried to pick out his sword, he was stopped by Mu Xiuming, who was in a hurry. He quickly used the healing technique to stop Qi Yi's wound, and then slowly pulled out the sword. Mu Xiuming's face was pale, and his whole body was full of blood. The wound on his body was also very ferocious. He said with a tragic smile, It seems that this time we lost too miserably. Qi Yi's gave a bitter smile and turned his head. Suddenly, his smile froze in the corner of his mouth. Over there, Gao Yu had fallen to the ground, and his whole body was full of blood. Go and save people. Qi Night coughed twice, quickly pushed Wu Xiuming beside him. Mu Xiuming's face was pale, and he looked down at Qi Yi's, a little embarrassed. But Qi Yi's pushed him away and said in a cold voice, Save him quickly. I'll heal myself. Looking at the big wound on Qi Yi's body, the blood had stopped. Mu Xiuming also vomited and said, Be careful. Then he turned and ran to Gao Yu. Gao Yu, lying on the ground, has wounds all over his body and spits blood in his mouth. It's obvious that he has suffered internal injuries. Mu Xiuming walks up to him, squats down and begins treatment. However, Gao Yu holds him down and says in a deep voice, "Elder Mu, you don't have to save me. Go to protect our dragon Qingxia elder. My life is not worth it." Before he finished, Mu Xiuming threw away Gao Yu's hand and said, "Shut up." Because of constant healing, Mu Xiuming's consumption is also very huge. His face is pale and almost transparent, but his wound is still bleeding. He gasps, and the cold sweat falls from his forehead. He clenches his teeth and continues to treat Gao Yu. He sees Gao Yu's eyes red and wants to say something more, but he is stopped by Mu Xiuming. "If you can save one, you have to save one. How can you watch your brother die?" Mu Xiuming's voice was obviously short of breath. He paused and gasped, "Don't talk anymore. I can't hold on any longer. Don't waste my strength." Gao Yu sighed and closed his eyes. On his face polluted by blood, he shed 2 tears. "Brothers! Get out of here!" Dragon Qingxia roars, and his whole body suddenly bursts with huge energy, which moves Shengwen's hung in front of him. Then a mouthful of blood gushed out and clenched his teeth. Suddenly, sand and stones flew away in the valley. Countless stones seemed to be picked up from the ground and flew towards the people of the Beast Gate. All of a sudden, bursts of screams sounded, and a large number of people fell to the ground. At this time, everyone helped each other and ran to the back of the valley. Long Qingxia's eyes were red, and his white face was blue. It was obvious that he had reached the limit. Yu Guang left behind him. Most of the people had already run to the distance. With a sneer, he suddenly applied force, and countless stones hit countless people in black robes with the whizzing wind. Another mouthful of blood gushed out, and the dragon fell on his knees with a staggering step, dark in front of his eyes. Obviously, this extreme overdraft of energy has seriously injured his meridians. A pair of hands behind him suddenly lifted him up. In front of Long Qingxia's eyes, it was dark and he couldn't see who it was. But the man firmly put his arm on his shoulder and set him up to run behind him. "Thanks, brother." Long Qingxia lowered his head, vomited and whispered to the people around him. "Don't say that, boss." The man around said, "You quickly calm down to recover your injury." Long Qingxia's heart relaxed, and he put his weight on the man. "After a while, I was finally able to see things and the people around me. This person seems to be a teenager under 20 years old." "Boss." The boy opened his mouth, showed his white teeth, and the blood on his face could not stop his childishness. He held the dragon firmly and said, "Can you do it?" Long Qingxia smiles and nods. Just as he wants to say something, he suddenly hears the young man around him shouting, "Be careful, boss." Before he could see it clearly, the pain on his body could not make him have redundant reaction, so he saw that the young man suddenly blocked the dragon's back and pushed it out. A long sword runs through the young man's chest. The young man smiles at the dragon who looks back, spits a big mouthful of blood and closes his eyes. Long Qingxia clenched his teeth, frowned and looked at the boy who had dropped his head. He crushed his teeth and clenched his fists tightly. The blood flowed down his fingers. Looking around, the flames of war filled the air, and the blood penetrated into the land. The wind was full of blood. "I must take revenge for this revenge." Long Qingxia turned and ran to the direction of the army. There are 3 kingdoms in human world. They are jointly controlled by the largest gate of beasts base, located in the center of the 3 kingdoms. During the reign of the Gate of Beasts, this base has always been the central hub of the Gate of Beasts in the human world. There is also a transmission array connecting the upper world and the human world. This place, which used to symbolize the highest power, is now directly covered by the flames of war. In the past 2 months or so, the Yunjia army and various legions have mercilessly swept the one human base in the whole human world, winning more and losing less, and even facing some small bases, they can attack in several ways on the same day. And sometimes if they fail, they will win the next time after adjusting the attack plan properly. The most important thing is that all the countries in the whole world have joined the Cloud Dance team. Yunwoo's army surrounded the last base. The soldiers were ready to attack at any time. Yunwoo squints at the Beast Gate base in front of him. It seems that he is ready to die. The last one. Gao Yuchang said with a sigh, as if the burden of many days could finally be put down. Cloud Dance nodded, thinking of someone far away in the upper bound, couldn't help laughing and said, "This is just the beginning, don't forget, there is the whole upper bound." As soon as he thought that there were so few troops in the upper world, but he had to face such a powerful upper world, Yunwoo felt that he had to recover the human world as soon as possible and go back to help Long Qingxie. He hadn't been in touch for a long time, and he just wanted to lead the soldiers to fight in the human world, and he didn't know what happened to him. However, the thought that this is the last battle and you can go back after it is over makes Yunwoo feel relieved and even anxious to return. Report to the leader, the troops have been counted, and all the human beings who want to join in this battle have arranged their tasks. A soldier came forward to report. This is the last battle, so almost all the countries in the whole human world want to contribute. In the face of these sudden increase of troops, Yunwoo and Gao Yu all agreed to join them after carefully checking and confirming the list. Now, it's all in place. Give me orders, prepare to attack. Yes, the summoning array flickered, and several summoning beasts appeared one after another. Have you had a good rest? The Cloud Dances smilingly looking at one by one the call beasts that turn into human form to say. The summoners had already rubbed their hands and fists. As soon as they heard the Cloud Dance's question, they quickly nodded and said with one voice, "Have a good rest. You can move on at any time." Yunwoo nodded with satisfaction and said, "Okay, now that you're ready, let's go." Yes, one by one, the summoners showed themselves. As soon as their huge bodies appeared, many soldiers around them immediately saw them and received the order of attack. Kill, brothers. This is the last battle. Drive out the men of the Beast Gate, kill them. No one left. Kill them all, we can't let go of a man of 10,000 beasts. One by one, the heroes cried out enthusiastically. This battle does not need too many words of encouragement, or even fighting methods. With a cavity of blood, they can march forward bravely. Among the bases of the 10,000 Beast Gate, the only remaining 10,000 Beast Gate experts in the human world have all gathered together. The reason why there has been no movement before is not that they have any plans. But they are discussing whether to return to the upper world or stay in the human world. Can't go back to the upper bound. Do you think there's a way out for us to go back like this? Will the Lord let us go? It's better to stay in the human world. Anyway, they are all a group of weak human beings. It's a big deal to fight with them. No. Don't you see those armies? It's a dead end for us to stay in the human world. Maybe you can survive when you go back to the upper world. After all, the patriarch is also in the time of employing people. Useless fellow. Do you think the patriarch will not blame you for your defeat? How is that possible? If you want me to say it, I'd better fight back and fight with them. We are not incompetent people. Why should we hide like a turtle? As long as you go back to the upper boundary, you will be in the sight of the Lord. I think it's better to find a way to make the Lord think that we are dead than to let him pass us by chance. Anyway, both of them are so difficult. Why don't you run away now and pretend to be ordinary human beings in the human world? As long as you don't do it, who knows we are from the Beast Gate. A group of people discussed for a long time, but no result came out, until there was a huge cry outside, and everyone's face turned white instantly. Then someone rushed in and announced that the army had come. At this time, those people who said they were going to go back to the upper world stood up and said coldly, "You should stay by yourself. Anyway, I won't die with you." After that, he rushed to the direction of the transmission array and wanted to leave before the army came. The departure of tens of thousands of Orshans directly shakes the people who are still discussing fiercely just now. Death is in front of us. Is it escaping from the human world or returning to the upper world? No matter. Anyway, I stay in the human world. I'm going now," said a man who was going to hide in the human world. Then he stood up and took off his black robe. He turned to look for a chance to escape. For a moment, the place where the only remaining experts were gathered just now, and most of them had disappeared, but the remaining few were still strong enough to fight against Yunwu. A few people had no time to prepare, so they rushed out of the room. The only remaining troops of the Beast Gate had been ready for a long time, but almost all of their faces had only one expression: panic. "What's the matter? If you don't want to die, try to rush out." A few people out of the room saw that the soldiers of the Beast Gate were all like this bear and roared. "These are things that I dare not even speak loudly in front of you on weekdays. What else are you afraid of? You're from the Beast Gate. Don't give me advice." Those people found that a few leaders had already come out, and they had a little more confidence. But when they turned around and found that only a few leaders were left, their confidence disappeared again. It's just that time doesn't allow them to think anymore, and the army of Cloud Dancing has arrived. Holding high the flag of the Cloud family army, the golden armor flickers in the sun. It is made by many countries in the whole human world with the most precious and best materials for the Cloud Dancing army. Their weapons are also made for them by the best weapon refiners in the whole human world. This is a team that condenses the strength of the whole human world. In any country, it is the best weapon refiner in the whole human world, a team that can march forward bravely in the face of difficulties. Up! Did you hear that? Give me all of them. Several leaders of the Beast Gate yelled at the black-robed people fiercely. It seemed that if they yelled twice more, they would be able to win, or they would feel more secure. Kill dash, a group of useless human beings. See if I don't chop you to death. They have no time to think more, even to think about the strategy of the war. All they can do is to kill the enemy more by virtue of the instinct of fear. They are extremely fierce by instinct, but they have no effect in front of such a huge army. The cloud dances to fly in the high altitude. The sharp eye saw opposite 10,000 beast door person's condition, at the moment without hesitation, big hand a wave, loud voice instantly sent out. All above the realm of Emperor Wu, speed up. As soon as these words came out, people understood that they were going to let stronger people go forward. The team below changed quickly. Some soldiers slowed down immediately, and some soldiers speeded up and rushed to the front of the team. Several large summon beasts took the lead and surrounded the whole base. Yunwu and Gaoyu stood in a row with the summoners and went up to fight with the most powerful people. There are only a few experts left in the Beast Gate. At most, they are only people in the early stage of Wuling Realm. No one can resist the cloud dance. They fight together and almost all of them are passive. This battle is very urgent. In order to let the whole human world join in, Yunwu did not plan its tactics in detail. Therefore, it always kept vigilance and carefully observed the situation of the whole battle, so as not to cause unnecessary losses. You dare to be distracted in the war. Are you a little arrogant? A voice came, provoking Yunwu to take back his sight, but he saw that two people from Wuling Realm were staring at Yunwu angrily. These two men are just two of those who are ready to escape. They just want to pass through the army and leave in disorder, and finally fail. When he wanted to use the teleportation array to go back to the upper bound, he found that the teleportation array was guarded by Yunwu's men. He had no choice but to come back. At this time, they can only hope that those who have returned to the upper world before can bring back the news here, and Shangguanshong can mercifully save them. Cloud Dance looked at the two people who suddenly came out, disdained and said, "Oh. Do you want me to do my best against you? No problem." Having said that, the purple fighting spirit on Yunwu's body suddenly becomes more intense, and the ancient sword in his hand is directly wrapped in the black flame. When it burns, it reveals strangeness. The two people who said what they had just said could not help regretting. Why did they have to deal with Yunwu? Who can't deal with the others? But things have come to now, they can't help regretting. Cloud dancing figure next moment directly in front of them, hand knife, black flame sword with the majestic momentum directly towards their face down. The two masters of Wuling Realm can't care too much at this time. At this time, if they don't cooperate well and have other thoughts, there will be only one way to die. They are all people who have experienced great events, so they instantly understand what to do. The person attacked by Yunwoo couldn't escape, but before the attack fell on him, he stretched out a long sword from the side. With a light pick, he picked Yunwoo's sword to one side and pulled the man to one side. Cloud Dance's body quickly retreats, slightly surprised looking at that person who starts, pick eyebrow way, Wu Ling later period. The man was silent, as if he didn't pay attention to Yunwoo's question. He took the lead to attack Yunwoo with a long sword. Yunwoo doesn't dodge either. The other side's later period is the middle period of Wuling, plus the initial period of Wuling he stopped, the three attack Yunwoo at the same time. It's just the difference in strength, so the attack time of the three is also different. The black flame sword looks majestic, but it doesn't seem to need much strength in Yunwoo's hand. It's even more agile than the long sword. Yunwoo waved a few times, and even blocked all the three people's attacks. The sound of metal collision reverberated in the air. It seemed that Yunwoo didn't use any force, but the three people couldn't take it every time. Until the last blow, Yunwoo wielded a knife and cut the sword into two with a click. Then, Cloud Dance's figure moved quickly. It was clearly flying in the air, but it seemed to have a support point. The left and right feet flew up in a chain. One foot kicked one person in the chest, and directly kicked the remaining two people out. Puff, two rings out, the two people together spit out a mouthful of blood, the chest even has the purple fighting spirit winding. It turned out that Yunwoo was not fighting with them, but directly with his own strength. I've been fighting you too long. It's almost over now. Cloud Dance squints at the three people in front of him and says coldly. Just before the fight, she suddenly had a palpitation, as if something could not be grasped. She was flustered for no reason, and seemed to have something important to lose. Yunwoo intuitively tells himself that the battle must be ended as soon as possible. Until now, she was still a little flustered, and her chest was still a little flustered. But clearly everything is going so smoothly, what's the problem? The three people on the other side turned pale. Unexpectedly, after being suppressed for a long time, Yunwoo said that she didn't do her best. This time, however, they didn't have to think about it anymore. Yunwoo rushed directly, and the black flame rose up. Guwoo's big knife threw out a black tongue of fire and rushed towards them. The scorching heat sent out, and the three people didn't even have time to escape, so they were directly engulfed by the black tongue of fire. Where the black had gone, they had no chance to resist, let alone escape. In a flash, the three people who had been seriously injured were left with a scream. Ah dash, help dash. Yunwoo coldly watched their figure finally turn into ashes and disappear between heaven and earth. The look on his face was not loose, but more frowned. The battle below is still going on. Those beasts who separated and resisted become black shadows like mole ants. Yunwoo only feels that her chest is more and more uncomfortable. In a moment, she seems to have caught something. Long Qing Xie. It's the dragon. Yunwoo felt as if he had been touched by the pulse door in an instant, and he couldn't breathe. The man with a part of the killers left in the upper world has not heard from him for a long time. Everything in the human world is so smooth, even in order not to let them be found easily, all the front troops have come to the human world to recover the lost land with the fastest speed. Until now, the battle is coming to an end, and there has been no mistake. So at this time, there is only one explanation for the suffering of my chest, the dragon's evil has happened. Gao Yu. Yunwoo shouts. On the other side, Gao Yu, who also ended the fight, rushed over. What's the matter, Chief? Gao Yu had never seen Yunwoo so panicked. Although he was still calm on the surface, his eyes were full of panic, as if he could go crazy at any time. Let them speed up. We must go back to the upper boundary at once, Cloud Dance said in a hurry. Gao Yu didn't have time to ask why. Looking at Cloud Dance's anxious look, he quickly issued the order. The soldiers below are ordered not to keep them at the moment. They stand up one by one to kill the enemy. The cry is even more shocking. Gao Yu went back to Yunwu. Chief, it has been released. According to the current situation, I'm afraid that the battle can be ended in a single time at most. Yunwu nodded and took a few deep breaths to calm down. At this time, she wanted to go back to the human world to see if it was the dragon's evil spirit. They met with difficulties, but she thought that even if she went back, she would not be able to help. At that time, it would be a waste of time for the Yun family army to look for herself again. In this way, it would delay more time, so she had to hold her temper. Anyway, there's only one incense burning time. There shouldn't be any big event in Long Qingxia's place. They are all trained killers, but they can still run. Cloud the dance comforts itself in the heart, forces itself to calm down, can't lose the square inch, otherwise even can't help at that time. Chief, what's the matter with you? Gao Yu finally asked. Yunwu frowned, shook his head and said, I don't know. I always feel a little flustered. I'm worried about him and they. Gao Yu was stunned. He wondered why Cloud Dance had such a feeling, but he didn't. But when I think about it, after all, there are dragons' evil spirits there. Is there a so-called heart? Cloud Dance gave a wry smile. You think it's magical, don't you? I think it's incredible, but I always feel a little insecure. Gao Yu nodded and said, I understand. The leader doesn't have to say much. We can speed up the progress. Having said that, he directly joined the battle below. Cloud Dance closed his eyes and tried to adjust his state so that he could give the greatest help when he saw the dragon. The time of burning incense soon passed, the battle below was completely over, and the last soldier of the 10,000 Beast Gate was also killed at the foot of the soldiers. Victory! We have won, our home is back. The human world is our territory again. The Beast Gate is driven out by us. Bursts of loud cheers resounded throughout the land, as if to reach every corner of the human world in general. Cloud Dance opened her eyes is already a clear, although still a little flustered, but at this time, she believes that she has been able to arrange the troops rationally. The armies of all countries are constantly cheering. They are hugging and grateful with the soldiers of Yunjiajin. Gao Yu just gave everyone a cup of tea to cheer them up, and then he didn't have to ask Yunwu to start the gathering directly. General Gao, would you like to celebrate? The monarchs of several countries in the human world came forward one after another, and they did not dare to speak directly with Yunwu. What's more, Yunwu was obviously in a bad mood at this time, so they came forward and said to Gao Yu. Gao Yu shook his head, his face was serious, and said, We all appreciate your kindness, but it's really inconvenient today. Although the human world has been recovered, the upper world is the home of the Beast Gate. We still have some important friends in the upper bound, so we have to go back to help them as soon as possible. Several kings were surprised. Are you not in a hurry? The recovery of the human world is a major event, and a little celebration is not a bad thing. To tell you the truth, it is also a temporary decision to go back to the upper boundary now. Gao Yu said, because the leader got the news, the friends in the upper world in case of trouble, if it's too late, I'm afraid it will cause some serious damage, so. When Gao Yu said this, everyone knew it was important, so he quickly said, I see. In this case, we wish you all the best. When we organize the army, we will go to the upper boundary. I wish you a hand. Thank you so much. Finally, Gao Yu said politely, and immediately speeded up the speed of the withdrawal. Just now a battle didn't consume too much strength, so Gao Yu didn't let everyone rest for too long. Soon, after the team gathered, Gao Yu returned to Yunwu. Chief, do you want to start now? Yunwu takes a look at the transmission array in the Wanhuman base, and wants to go there directly. But after all, she sighs. If it goes there, I'm afraid it will go to the headquarters directly. At that time, I have to come out of trouble first to find Long Qingxia. So Cloud Dance just suppressed the intention of heart, cold voice command, destroy that transmission array, everyone, set out to the transmission array, immediately return to the upper bound. Yes, upper bound. When the team returned to the valley, everyone was silent. Standing on the open field of the valley, Long Qingxia gasped and looked around. However, he saw less than 1/5 of the people he had brought out. Most of them were scarred. Some of them had just returned to the valley and fell to the ground. All the people left in the valley were stunned. Seeing the miserable picture of Long Qingxie and others in front of them, they all turned pale and rushed out of the camp, so the valley began to carry the wounded. The atmosphere was heavy. "I'll save Shangguan." Mu Xiuming frowned and tried to stand up from the ground. But when he wanted to stand up, his legs softened and he sat down on the ground. Long Qingxie sighed, patted Mu Xiuming on the shoulder and said with a bitter smile, "Go to have a rest first. You are the only one who can cure now, so now your life is the most important thing. Don't force it, otherwise it will backfire." Because Tuoli had no strength to stand up, Mu Xiuming was supported by his hands and walked towards his room. Long Qingxie stood in the valley, his eyes were very cold, and his whole body was cold. He watched those people who came back with the last strength lying on the ground dying. The more he looked, the more murderous he was. Finally, all the people around him were startled. But after all, there was still an internal injury. In addition, I was very depressed. I still couldn't help it. A mouthful of blood gushed out and it was dark in front of me. Then I fell to the ground and heard someone shouting, "Boss, boss." Long Qingxie vomited. In fact, he felt that there was no problem with his injury, but now he was just very tired and wanted to sleep. Finally, in the dark, the senses gradually disappeared. But Shangguan and others are very dangerous. Mu Xiuming almost recovered his body and ran to Shangguan's room. Shangguan was very dangerous at this time. He was lying in bed with weak breath and cold sweat. Although the wound on his body had stopped bleeding, his internal injury was very serious. At this time, he was in a coma, mostly because of internal injury. Mu Xiuming quickly used the healing technique to treat Shangguan's internal injury, but Shangguan's injury was really serious, which cost him a lot of energy. After a few breaths, Mu Xiuming feels dizzy. He looks down at the Shangguan lying on the bed. His brow is wrinkled again. His internal injury is so serious that many meridians have been damaged. The energy consumed in repairing these meridians is beyond Mu Xiuming's endurance. This made Mu Xiuming sigh and murmur, "Shangguan, next you have to rely on yourself." I have to save other people." So he turned and went to Qi Yi's room. Qi Yi's was lying on the bed at this time. He had been sober for a long time, but his face was very pale and he obviously lost too much blood. Mu Xiuming showed her, feeling that there should be no serious problem, so he recovered his energy and said to Qi Yi's, "Don't walk around and rest at ease during this period, otherwise the wound may crack." Qi Yi's just nodded. Although his face was still very cold, his eyes were obviously friendly and grateful. So Mu Xiuming went to Long Qingxie's house again, but found that although Long Qingxie was sleeping deeply, he was the least hurt among these people. He was relieved. He went to see Gao Yu again. Gao Yu was also sleeping in his room. He was seriously injured, but he could not be cured overnight. So Mu Xiuming dragged his injured body to the camp outside. On this side, all the wounded have been gathered. Those who know how to bandage the wounded have wandered among the injured and started to bandage them. However, most of the people who lost too much blood still need Mu Xiuming to stop bleeding. After a long time, Mu Xiuming looked at the sky, and it was very late. His eyes were dark, which made Mu Xiuming not stand firm. He fell to the ground and felt his strength gradually. Mu Xiuming gave a wry smile, and then he heard the scream of the injured patient beside him. Someone lifted Mu Xiuming up and put him on a bunk to have a good rest. Some people also checked Mu Xiuming's wound and found that it was okay, so Mu Xiuming lost consciousness again. The camp gradually fell into a deep sleep. When Long Qingxie woke up in the middle of the night, it was already midnight. He rubbed his painful head and stood up. "I've been sleeping long enough." Long Qingxie breathes out, sits on his knees, and begins to close his eyes to heal. Peeping at the meridians, he finds that his meridians have been repaired. He can't help but appreciate Mu Xiuming, but he frowns. Now that the people of the 10,000 beasts have discovered this mysterious man, then they are in a deadlock again. The injury in his body has recovered under his breath. When Long Qingxie opened his eyes, it was the morning of the next day. When the morning sun rose from the east, it brought the awakening of the whole valley. Although everyone was very tired, they still stood up. Some people who can stand up even though they are not seriously injured get up in the morning to practice and regulate their breath as usual. Long Qingxie's face is also very pale, but after last night's breath adjustment, he is better than half. Looking at the brothers around him so seriously, he can't help sipping his mouth. The boy who finally blocked himself suddenly appears in front of him. Clench your fists. But at this time, suddenly, I heard a voice from the exit of one end of the valley shouting, "No! The people of the Beast Gate are coming to attack." Dragon Qingxie's face suddenly sank, the épée was already in his hand, and he rushed to the direction of the sound. But the Beast Gate came too fast, and because it was a valley, it still took advantage of the terrain. Daoyang's crossbow flew under the valley. Suddenly, there was a scream, and some people in the valley had fallen to the ground. Shangguancong also came. As soon as Long Qingxie saw Shangguancong, his eyes turned red. He gritted his teeth and said angrily, "Shangguancong." But Shangguancong didn't seem to be in a hurry at all. He waved his hand and saw a large number of black-robed people of the beast sect rush into the valley. They cut and killed in the valley and howled everywhere. Those wounded patients who were still sleeping had not had time to defend themselves, but had been killed by the people of the Beast Gate. This made Long Qingxie very angry, and he raised his épée to stab Shangguancong. Shangguancong hummed coldly, "Dragon Qingxie, you are really beyond your ability. I'd like to see what you can do without that eye." On hearing this, the heart of Dragon Qingxie clapped and said, "What does Shangguancong mean? Has the mysterious man been found out and killed?" At the thought of this, Long Qingxie felt even more angry. Although the mysterious man didn't know why he wanted to help himself, Long Qingxie and his friends had regarded him as their own for a long time. But now, it fell into the hands of Shangguancong. What's the difference between killing one's own partner? Long Qingxie felt as if his chest had been blocked by something, and his anger had no place to vent. He could only turn grief into strength, and with all his strength, he grasped the sword in his hand and attacked Shangguancong. Every sword with a sword must kill his murderous gas, stabbed to Shangguancong. Well, it's just a bunch of lost dogs. It's all up to now. Do you think you still have a way to live? Shangguancong cold sarcastically said, "Take a good look at your incompetent men. Before long, they will all die here." Long Qingxie's eyes are colder. When Yu Guang glances at him, he finds that many of his own people have been killed. With a roar, the dragon tilted his evil feet and raised his sword to stab Shangguancong's heart, but Shangguancong easily avoided it. People who fight against the Beast Gate usually don't come to a good end. Even if you are a trouble, you can't get away with it in the end. Shangguancong said with a sneer, "Finally let me find your nest. This time, let's finish it." When Shangguancong said this, he couldn't help laughing. The laughter shook the birds in the tree and made the dragon's eyes colder. He threw a sword flower and flew to Shangguancong in an instant. But Shangguancong was faster than him. He raised his hand and grabbed him by the neck and lifted him up. But when did Long Qingxie suffer from this humiliation? He was furious. Almost in an instant, he stabbed his sword into Shangguancong. But suddenly he found that he stabbed himself in the air, and Shangguancong had easily avoided the attack of Long Qingxie. This time, the heart of Dragon Qingxie was more heavy. He felt that the hand on his neck was more and more fierce. In an instant, it has already made Long Qingxie blush, and he can't breathe even when he opens his mouth. Shangguan, Qiyi's and others stagger out, pale. Looking at the miserable situation in the valley in front of them, they quickly pick up their swords and fly up. But after all, he was seriously injured yesterday, and Shangguan and other people didn't follow him. However, the momentum of the 10,000 Beast sect is very powerful. Wave after wave of people in black, who are fighting the evil dragon, have no time to resist. You can't rely on a large number of people to build the beast gate. Shangguan gasped and yelled. The sword stabbed, but the speed was so fast that Shangguan's had to dodge, so he had to drag Long Qingxie away from Shangguan. A lot of people, a lot of people. Shangguan's snorted coldly and laughed sarcastically. Are you only able to sneak in and sneak attack Glorious? Yes. I'm glad you don't want to hide, and I don't want to deal with you honestly. Several people in Shangguan's words were speechless, but originally Shangguan just wanted to take this opportunity to satirize him. He wanted to let him take advantage of the opportunity to mess up, but the other side of the clinker retreated directly. But at this time, Long Qingxie suddenly seized the opportunity, and the épée in his hand cut him mercilessly while Shangguan's was talking. This attack came too suddenly. Shangguan's didn't guard against it, so he quickly released his hand, which made the attack dangerous. At this time, Shangguan also seized the opportunity to attack. His sword didn't even have time to see the target, so he stabbed Shangguan's. For a moment, Shangguan's was really in a mess. After all, Shangguan was seriously injured in yesterday's battle. Obviously, he was a little weak. A black-robed man stabbed Shangguan suddenly. Although Shangguan had felt the sword wind sweeping from behind, he could not avoid it. He could not help feeling the cold sword wind cutting off his neck. Qi Yi's pupils suddenly contracted and opened his mouth slightly. He was almost in the same place. Looking at the man's sword behind Shangguan, he was about to touch Shangguan's neck. In an instant, a white light flashed around. Then, before everyone could react, they saw countless people rushing out of the valley, shouting and running from the outside of the valley. Without saying a word, they killed the man in black robe. All of a sudden, there were howls all around, but the people on the side of Dragon Qingxie were stunned, and then they began to laugh. People from all directions rushed into the valley, and the huge valley was suddenly crowded. Long Qingxie gasped and stood up with his sword. Looking at the crowd, he raised a faint smile. Are you all right? Yunwu killed countless black-robed people in front of him and finally rushed to Long Qingxie. He looked up at Long Qingxie and asked anxiously. The smile in the corner of Long Qingxie's mouth is very charming, and the smile is in his eyes, which makes Yunwu avoid his eyes. But just as he is ready to leave, he is suddenly embraced by Long Qingxie. It's good that you're back safe, little one. Long Qingxie took a deep breath, and suddenly felt that the air around him had become fresh. He looked up at the fierce fight in the valley in front of him, and looked down at the cloud dance and the warm fragrance in his arms. His heart was relaxed. Cloud dance. You've come at a good time, Shangguan yelled, but it seemed that he was involved in the wound. He took a cold breath, and only hummed. Yunwu lowers his head and smiles. He goes forward to treat Shangguan. Nanganji. Qi Yi's looks at the man who is walking towards him. The man at the corner of his mouth pulls out a smile. How's it going? Nangang Yi steps forward and helps Qi Yi's up. He looks down to see her injury. Qi Yi's injury is very serious. The huge wound makes Nangang Yi frown and murmur, "What's the matter? You've suffered such a serious injury." It's a long story. Qi Yi's gave a bitter smile. Suddenly he pushed Nangang Yi away, turned the snake sword around a few times and killed the black-robed man in front of him. Let's not talk so much. Qi Knight light indifferent way, hastily will South Palace Yi push away, if have what to say, still wait for this battle to pass again. Then he ran to the battlefield. Nangang Yi looks at Qi Yi's back and frowns slightly. He also picks up his weapon and runs to the battlefield quickly. At this moment, Shangguan's face suddenly changed. Long Qingxie looked in his eyes, sneered, shook the blood on épée, clasped his hands, and said, I knew there was no way out of heaven. There was a sharp cry in the sky, and countless huangs circled on it, while the archers sitting on them flexibly shot at the black-robed man on the ground. The black-robed man had hardly any resistance, and had been knocked down on the ground. Soon, the blood in the valley has become a stream. Shangguan's was already very angry. He suddenly roared, and his whole body was black. His murderous spirit suddenly soared into the sky, and his black hair flew wildly. Cloud Dance narrowed her eyes and looked at Shenguansheng's appearance. With a cold smile, she called out, "Little Nine, come out." Xiaojiu jumps out and rushes to Shenguansheng. Shenguansheng's eyes were red, and he gritted his teeth and said, "The clouds dance, the dragon pours evil. None of you can walk out of this valley today." The war became even worse. Shenguan sits on his knees in a hurry and uses his skills to heal his wounds. Gao Yu is guarding him with people around him. He is very relieved to give his life to Gao Yu. Countless people around him are the same, back to back with their friends and give their back to each other. Nangong Yi turns to see Qi Yi's who is still fighting. Qi Yi's injuries are more and more, and the whole person is tottering. Nangong Yi can't help but frown. He quickly knocks back the black-robed man in front of him and goes to help Qi Yi's. Without turning his head, Qi Yi's had already felt the breath from Nangong Yi. In a moment, he felt at ease. He stabbed the black-robed man in front of him with a sword and stood with Nangong Yi back to back. "How are you? I'll take care of you first," Nangong Yi said, turning to glance at Qi Yi's face. Her face was as pale as paper, and her lips were not bloody. The snake sword in her hand seemed very heavy, which made Qi Yi's hands tremble. Nangong Yi frowned and said coldly, "Go to heal." "I'm here." But Qi Yi's frowned tightly, and he wanted to say something more. "No, but..." Nangong Yi steps forward and stands in front of Qi Yi's, waving his sword. For a moment, no one comes to disturb him. Qi Knight hurried to sit cross-knee, seized the time to heal breathing. Nangong Yi turns his head and looks at Qi Yi's. He turns his head and looks more sentimental. With one sword and one sword, he almost makes no mistake and kills all the black-robed people in front of him. The battlefield is still very tense. The number of black-robed people is amazing. On the other hand, because of the two wars, Long Qingxia lost a lot of manpower. Although there are enough people dancing in the clouds, they are a little weak because they are constantly fighting in the human world. They have been deadlocked with the people of the Beast Gate all the time. In the sky, the sun is burning and the trees are overcast. No one thought that in this deep mountain, an extremely fierce battle is taking place at this time. Countless people fell, and countless people continue to move forward. Almost all the summoning beasts of Yunwu are summoned. At this time, they are destroying the enemy on a large scale. However, with the help of Yunwu and others, the valley does not seem to be more relaxed, and the spirit of killing is even heavier. Xiao Smelly took the people of the Huang family to dive down in the sky, and the fire beast spewed out flames to scorch the black-robed man. When countless people around him saw Yunwu and others coming, there was a ray of hope in their eyes. They laughed and took up arms again, and continued to fight with the people of the Beast Gate. As a result, the valley from a one-sided situation has become a stalemate between the two sides. "I just want to know." Yunwu frowned slightly, slashed a man in front of him with his sword, turned his head and looked at the dragon. "Why did you suddenly become like this? What's the problem?" Long Qingxia snorted coldly and said, "There is a mysterious man in the Beast Gate who has been very correct all the time, so we have no vigilance. But this time, the intelligence is wrong, so we have become like this." Cloud Dance brow deep lock, no voice, ray element will be big knife package, without saying a word, see people cut. Where Degeo went, no one in black could stand. Shenguansheng stood not far away, laughing, "It's Yunwu. I said who it is." Say, suddenly leap and rise, straight to Cloud Dance to catch. Yunwu was very angry originally. Now when he saw Shenguansheng, he was very angry. It was needless to say that the fighting spirit and thunder elements of Guwu's sword were even stronger. The body of the sword was full of light, and he cut it to Shenguansheng heavily. When the sword passed, it was still blowing wind, which made the people in black robes around shiver. I saw that the blade of Guwu's broadsword was going to cut Shenguansheng's neck, but Shenguansheng suddenly disappeared in the same place. Yunwu was stunned for a moment. Instead of panic, he suddenly hit the ground with his toes and flew back. As expected, the figure of Shanggunsong suddenly appeared in front of Yunwu, and Yunwu was very prescient. But Rao is such, the chest of Cloud Dance is still cut a sun, blood-soaked clothes, formed a blood way. Dragon Qing Xia almost stabbed Shanggunsong at the same time, but Shanggunsong stepped back and stood several meters away. Are you okay? Long Qingxie hurried forward to check, but he saw Cloud Dance shaking his head indifferently and said, I feel Shanggunsong is much stronger than last time. It seems that we have to deal with it carefully. Long Qingxie nodded with a smile, wiped the blood on his face and said, Dare to move, little guy, it seems that he doesn't want to live. The whole body is wrapped in black energy, and the dragon's evil suddenly disappears in the same place. A gust of wind sweeps past the clouds and fog, and directly attacks Shanggunsong. Shanggunsong's pupils shrink, and he flies to avoid them. But Yunwu doesn't give him the chance. He suddenly flies up. Helong clearly looks at Shanggunsong. After all, Shanggunsong was more powerful than the two men. As soon as his step changed, he slid out towards his side, and his figure flashed. In an instant, Longqingxi stabbed him again. Longqingxi frowned tightly and said in a cold voice, Shanggunsong, don't deceive people too much. Shanggunsong couldn't help but smile. He opened the corner of his mouth and looked at the dragon. He said, I'm deceiving people too much. Aren't you deceiving people too much? With these words, Yunwu has gone away quietly. She comes to Shanggunsong's back and claps her hand on Shanggunsong's back. Shanggunsong is very flexible. He is photographed by Yunwu with one palm. His brow is slightly wrinkled, but he turns around and pats Yunwu's arm in an instant. Yunwu dodges quickly, but he can't help smiling when he sees a touch of blood flowing from the corner of Shanggunsong's mouth. I didn't expect to see you for a few days. You've made a lot of progress. Shanggunsong sneered and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. It's not that I have improved a lot, but that you have degenerated a lot. The cloud dances indifferently to sneer at, the knife is in the hand whirring to generate wind, aimed at the neck of the upper official grave to chop down. Shanggunsong can give her this opportunity, bend over to avoid, but suddenly clap a palm, clap to the front of the chest. Yunwu had no choice but to step back, but he was still affected by the fighting spirit of Shanggunsong, and his chest nearly vomited blood. He raised the sword in front of him and watched Shanggunsong warily. I advise you to leave now, or you will die miserably. But when he said this, Yunwu was still very nervous, because if he didn't get ahead, the next thing might be very difficult. I will die miserably. Looking at the cloud dance, Shanggunsong laughed angrily and said, Do you think I will die miserably? Gritting his teeth to Cloud Dance's neck, then use your life to see who will die miserably. Cloud Dance heart tight, hurried back to withdraw, but found Shanggunsong's speed is too fast. This made Yunwu frown and turn to his side to avoid Shanggunsong's hand. But there was a blood stain on his neck, and the blood was coming out. The wound was hot. Yunwu gritted his teeth angrily and threw the dagger. Shanggunsong seemed to know it for a long time. He leaned back to avoid the dagger. Yunwu had no weapons now, so Shanggunsong wanted to grab Yunwu's face. But Cloud Dance can be like his wish, suddenly bend over, the whole body is almost close to the ground, dive away. In an instant, he had come to Shanggunsong. Looking up at Shanggunsong, his hand had grasped the handle of Guwu de Geo. Looking up, he saw a smile from shallow to deep in the corner of Shanggunsong's mouth. The smile, with a bit of gloomy and cruel, suddenly kicked Yunwu's chest. Yunwu was nervous and instinctively defended his fighting spirit in his chest. So he resisted most of the power, but even so, Cloud also a mouthful of blood spray out, backward fly out. Not far away, Long Qingxie was surprised. He saw the figure flying out of Yunwu, and rushed to catch up with it. After arriving at Yunwu, he pulled Yunwu back, held it in his arms, stepped on the tree, and the whole person bounced back. The speed is so fast that people don't have time to see clearly. Ape flies to stab, In a twinkling of an eye to body front, go up the officer grave eyebrow tiny wrinkly, draw back hand in a hurry. Little guy, are you okay? Long Qingxie looks down to see Yunwu's injury. Yunwu frowned and waved his hand. His voice seemed weak, but it didn't sound like any serious internal injury, nothing. I don't think our camp is going to be able to hold any longer. Hurry to drive Shangguncong away. Otherwise, what may be waiting for us is a more cruel battle than these 2 days. Long Qingxie sighed and looked up at Shangguncong helplessly. His eyes were full of impatience and said, I said, why don't you go? You've been beaten so miserably. Haven't you been abused enough?